But I feel like we're also
I'm sorry,
like
I'm going
playing
live.
like detective. Okay. I feel like I'm more like detective than like really enjoying the characters. Yeah. Like I just want to find out the story plot. Yeah. I don't care. I do care, but I don't really care about the characters.
Okay, I do have to say too, I was listening to the first podcast that we did, the intro, and I felt a little guilty after listening to that one because you had finished pretty much the first book and you sped through it so quick. And the second book, you were on vacation. You were like, I can't wait because I'm about to like finish the second one. Mm-hmm. And then now I've slowed your reading considerably. So I'm like, I think the serious thing was because you hadn't read it. You weren't like flipping page to page maybe. It was like there was downtime in between each one.
But if you're not really, you are plot driven. And we ripped Sirius apart a little bit.
Yeah.
For how he is, because he was immature and he wasn't really acting great.
But we had too much time to analyze that almost.
That's true.
And talk it through together where we're like, he's being a little immature. Yeah. Oh, but maybe he didn't mature because of Azkaban and all that.
Right.
Rather than just like feel bad for him or have pity on him because he's like cooped up, you know?
Which I think if we read without stopping, maybe would have gone more that way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But it's funny, if Harry didn't have a close relationship with him, I don't know if I would have felt as bad.
Yeah, for sure.
You're right.
Agreed.
Like that's the connection of
because you feel bad for Harry, you don't necessarily feel bad for
Sirius. That's my problem. Yeah. Like,
right.
Harry's like lower on my.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. He's
like, I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know.
It's okay. Own it, Jen. You have no feelings.
I have no
You want to be a fly. You guys don't like Sirius. You're glad that he died.
Oh, good. I'm still a fly. That's back.
I can't
forever.
And then I remember the girl I was just saying about the texting. I was like, "How did you like book 5 with Umbridge?" And she didn't even respond to it. Though. It's like that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many times she's read it. I should have. You know what?
Yeah.
While we're talking.
It is interesting when how people's opinions change like the more they read it and like new things that they've seen. Like for this read, for me, you guys have like increased my love of Fred and George. Fred and George were before some of my favorite characters, 2 of my favorite characters. And there was this thing on like TikTok that was saying, are Fred and George overrated? And before I even started this reread, I was like, no way. They're like 2 great characters. But now they're like even cooler in my mind. They're brilliant. They're so good. Yeah. But a lot of people, when they read...
I feel like you would be one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When people reread through this, one byline that I hear a lot is people's love of Harry goes up every reread they have. Like the first read you have, Harry's a little... annoying sometimes.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
You're like,
he's not my favorite.
Yeah, he seems immature. He seems like, why is he doing certain things that he's doing? And then he kind of comes out of that. The next reads you have, like every read that I have, I mean, you understand his backstory, you understand more about him, and you're like,
I'm reading this again.
Yes.
He's like, I know you are.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Option.
Interesting.
It might not be next year, but you will eventually. Whoa, Stephen Fry next time.
I couldn't. He's just so good, Jim Dale.
And even like the audiobooks, there's something about just having the audiobooks on that's like cathartic. So it might take you years to reread the series, but eventually you're gonna be like, oh, let me like revisit those, and you're just gonna pop them in the car and be like, I forgot how good this was. This is so good.
It's like visiting old friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Depending how it ends.
Anyway, welcome everyone. We're not starting like the welcome podcast thing yet, but glad you guys are all here. Talking about the movie today. Very excited.
Chew away from the mic. No crunchies.
ASMR, come on, it's fine. Yeah, just dunk it a little bit longer in the tea, and then it's real soft, and you're good.
No, it's going into the cup. It's just dissolving.
I hate that then at the end where you have all like the dregs
the
at the bottom.
Yeah. All right. As always, for people on chat, whatever questions that you guys have for them, for any of us for the movie, just throw them on. throw them in chat, and then I will ask them. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to all this chat. Look at me, people.
Oh my gosh, you're ready?
Yeah. I love this.
How many people are here?
We got 11 right now.
Wow. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Fred and George are like good bullies, guys.
True. They are.
It's like healthy bullies, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a bad bully, like Dudley's a bad bully. Fred and George are like good bullies.
Because sometimes their bullying is social justice.
Yeah, there you go.
Like against Dudley, against Malfoy. It's always like restoring order.
Yeah.
Bully the bullies. But then sometimes the first years, you know, they lose touch a little bit.
Subjects on the first years. All right. You guys ready?
Ready.
I don't have like questions as we normally do for movies, but we'll just talk through talking points of this. But as always for the movies, I just want to know what you guys thought of this movie.
I thought it was good.
Me too.
It was pretty close to like I didn't feel like it missed a lot of things like the other ones. I felt like
I think it
That's
missed
especially the
a
beginning.
feeling. It didn't feel like the book because the movie was more positive. It like I'm like watching it like feeling good. Harry's like standing a little taller. It didn't capture the pain and torture that the book did. Like with Umbridge and some of the dark moments and the turmoil. It didn't feel like it fully captured that, but I'm okay with it. It made it very easy to watch.
That was something I think we all mentioned that at the end of when we watched the movie. And this was something that I saw in this movie. The movie was paced really well, but this is the only book that's not paced really well. And that's why people struggle with reading the Order of the Phoenix, because it seems like it's not paced great because you're just getting a lot of Umbridge. But I feel like for movie's sake, this is maybe the best paced movie. Like it just goes one thing to the next, and like you're getting a good amount of information there too. But it's like you don't get the time of agony with Umbridge. You get a few scenes of her, and you kind of hate her, and Imelda Staunton does great as Umbridge, but you don't hate her as much as you hate her in the books. In the books, you are just every page, you're like, please let this be the page that she, dies or whatever.
Yeah. It was weird that the Umbridge torture montage was that. It was a montage. It was like one moment, however long this, like one song, and it was mixed up with the Dumbledore's army stuff. So it was going back and forth. Umbridge doing something lame, Harry teaching everyone how to do a new spell, Umbridge being mean to someone, Harry making sure the army is growing and learning. And that balance meant that you never felt despair when she was like torturing.
Yeah.
Because you would always it would be followed up by something hopeful. So yeah, missing the theme, but fun to watch.
Yeah, it's like a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's I think it's one of the better adaptations that we've seen so far. Like you guys liked, I mean, it's hard because we watched some of the others a while ago, but did you like this better than some of the other ones, or not quite as much? Like, do you have a ranking of the movies so far? That might be tough.
The one that always sticks out to me, I think, is the second book, that movie.
Chamber of Secrets?
Yeah, like that whole snake scene with the the basilisk.
That was one of the cooler scenes, like how they made the Chamber of Secrets look. That was really awesome.
But if that says anything, I don't know. That's the one that like sticks out.
Yeah.
But
The production value keeps going up. Every movie's better than the last, it seems. And we're catching up to current time. Like it was made the most recently compared to the other movies we've seen. I feel like my ranking might be similar to the books.
I feel like the acting has gotten a lot better too, though.
Yeah, true.
Like all those kid stars, right? Like now I'm like, okay, like Hermione, she's changed a lot. Whatever her actress name is, I can't remember.
Emma Watson.
Because she was kind of like newbie.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
I feel like this is almost one of the movies where they kind of became conscious actors, where they're like making decisions through things. I feel like the first few they're kids and they just give lines and they like recite those lines. Then in the fourth one, I feel like they're still like kind of goofy and, you know, they're still like kiddish. So I feel like this is the one where you can see them making conscious decisions for how to act and like trying to become better actors. I think it worked for some, and I don't think it worked for others.
Ooh, interesting. So, who do you think it didn't work for?
I don't think this is a good Hermione movie. And one of the reasons why I think that is because she was so good in the books. Like, everything was centered around what Hermione was doing. And I just don't think she got enough screen time in the movies. I actually think Emma Watson did a decent job of some of the things. But, like, an example is she barely mentions the Harry of her caution to go to the Ministry of Magic because of what Harry has seen. So that was such a huge part of the book. Hermione is so cautious, and even like some of her fighting scenes, even like her in the Ministry of Magic, she was like capable in the Ministry of Magic, and they just cut a lot of those scenes out. So it wasn't Emma Watson necessarily. It was just like some of the stuff they left out, which was very Hermione centric.
Was that like a cut version, or is that like an extended version? Like, is there other versions of these movies?
I think there's like some small extended versions, but the extended versions aren't significantly longer. I don't think.
Okay.
It's not like the Lord of the Rings where it's like an hour of difference.
I didn't know there's an hour difference between.
Pretty much. About.
Oh my.
They're long already, right?
It's like 3 hours.
Aren't they long already?
Yeah, they're already long. They're already like 3-hour movies, and then the extended editions make them 4.
But then it's like, why couldn't they have done that for this?
No, I think so too. I wish they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the fans wanted it, you know? If they split like the series right now, that's what the fans really wanted. You can make so much money. I will give you whatever amount of money you want for me to enjoy this Harry Potter experience watching them. I also don't think Daniel Radcliffe did very good in this movie. Some of his stuff was a little clunky. Like
he had some good scenes.
Yeah, I think he had some.
One,
I think he did good in some of them.
But you're right about Dumbledore.
Yeah, which is okay, and this is shocking too. This
like
is
no personality at all. It's just like you could have had a robot play this guy.
Yeah.
And that's where I still can't tell if it's the actor or the directors or something else. But it missed the mark for sure.
Yep.
It's just not warm at all. Like you could ignore Harry, but still have like the charm and like warmth that he does in the book.
I feel like in a weird way this is his best movie because in the books he's a little cold, but he doesn't have like the coldness to him still in the books. He still has still has a Dumbledore charm.
Only to Harry though, so like that would be fine. Like you could ignore Harry, but just have him have, I don't know, like even
that's a great
face
point.
Expressions or something. He like seems, you know, even he was joking around the court case, like I don't know, it was
there's a way to emanate
like
who Dumbledore is, and he just missed that completely. There was a word as we were watching the movie, I should have written it down, I wrote nothing down, that came to me, and I don't know what it was.
Such a good point because in the books he's really just ignoring Harry, not really meeting eye contact, but he's still his like smart, winsome, charmful self. I think of the scene when he's in the office and he's like commanding other people to do things. He's like in control in that moment, but he still has like a very charming personality to him. And in the movie, I don't think that came across very much. He was just like ignoring everyone, like looking at portraits, saying, do this, do this. I don't think he had like the charmingness to him still. But again, there goes the cruise ship. It's going to become a byline of this podcast. The cruise is coming in.
That whole scene, though, I feel like now that I'm really thinking the book versus it just missed a lot of things, though. Like, the whole portraits, like, even the one where it was, like, go check on Sirius to see if he's... Like, that whole Sirius is he there or not with Creature?
Yeah. Yep.
Unless
no, you're right. I don't think it was there.
Creature was barely in the movie at all.
Yep.
It was, like, 2 scenes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 1. He just walks by mumbling.
But I think as a standalone, this is probably the first one that I could like appreciate as a movie solo. Trying to disconnect the book from it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Good.
Was there a reason for that?
It just had a lot of action. Like, there was action and, like, answers that I felt like were, like, a nice, consistent flow. But
I think you're gonna have better movie watching experience if you disconnect it from the books.
Exactly.
Your expectations and hopes are so high when you read the books because they're so good. The books are just so good.
Yeah, but I've always been that way. I'll dissect any movie and I'm like Googling what happened in like the book and I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this isn't enough information.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep talking about this. Anyway, thanks. Thanks for that's the podcast. That's all we're doing right now. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny.
Kristen.
This is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Wow,
a little off this morning, but
first time recording.
I know. Okay, we're just gonna kind of go through as we always do for the movie, like beginning to end, and whatever questions you guys have, let us know. But how do you guys like the opening of this movie? Like when he's at the Dursleys. It's hard to even remember.
I have mixed feelings. I'll say this. Dudley was cooler than I thought.
Really?
A little bit. Like he was definitely a dweebus, but also like
Dweebus.
I don't even know what that means, but it was like I just didn't think that he would be like that's like almost like a cliche, like a British street kid in the 90s. Like it just kind of felt like I don't know, in my head he had chains and an earring and I'm like
his outfit
I didn't think he was going
wild.
to actually be like that way. I don't know what I pictured him still in like Argyle sweaters but like trying to be a little more street, but then he's like actually forming this little gang with his people. I'm like I wouldn't want to be bullied by him anymore. I still thought of him as being
huge.
like a wimp. But then in this, I'm like, oh, he's actually like kind of big and he's got a bunch of people. But it felt over dramatic that Harry's just sitting on the swings out in the middle of a field or wherever it was. I was like, what is this, some dystopian future? It felt like a little off. Like this is what in his neighborhood. He's just hanging out. Like it felt a little out of place.
Maybe that was their attempt to show his grief.
Maybe.
There you go.
Nice. It was interesting though. The whole opening.
I actually thought Dudley does a great job of acting in this. When he's like making fun of him, he's like, "Who's Cedric? Your boyfriend?" Like I feel like that's a good delivered line. Like that's something a bully would say. I feel like that was a really well placed line. You know.
Yep.
So I think his getup is a little weird. I think his outfit's a little weird.
So weird.
It's almost like a costume designer didn't really know anything about what people like him, bullies, wear, something like that, and they were just trying as hard as they could, and they kind of got close. But you're like, oh, there's a few things that are off on that.
Yeah.
He's like wearing like 3 shirts, and like one of them's like a basketball jersey or like something. I don't know.
It felt like such a leap from the Dudley we left in the last movie that I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I have anything else from the intro.
There's a few things that I didn't like about the intro. One, and this is a byline of this movie that drives me crazy, is that they don't really respect the magic. I feel like the directors don't really understand how magic works.
Ooh.
And they don't understand the secrecy of the wizarding world. One thing that drives me crazy is when Dudley is insulting Harry, Harry gets up off the swing and immediately pulls out his wand and puts it to Dudley's neck.
In front of it.
In front of all his friends.
Of random kids.
And they all laugh, and I'm sure they think Harry's crazy, but that's wild to me. He's exposing the wizarding world to like other people. Like that's a like not necessarily a criminal offense, but
honestly almost though, because
I mean, if he
literally in a few scenes he goes to trial to get kicked out of Hogwarts because he used magic.
Right.
And it was for good reason. But what? He was about to use magic on Dudley? Like, you're right, that they're not respecting the secrecy. We don't get a good feel for that. In whatever movie that was, wait, was that the second movie with the chamber? Yeah. When we meet Dobby, same thing. He got a letter in the mail saying like, you know, whatever it was, here's your warning. But something about it, you don't get that same struggle that we have in Harry's head from the book where he's kind of like wishing he could use magic but knows he can't and kind of weighing that in each situation. So I felt sloppy that he would just whip his wand out like no big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I need direction in these thoughts.
One funny comment that we all made when we were watching the movie and the Dementors came. I think one of you guys said, I forgot who, but the Dementors are getting to second base with Harry and Dudley. Like they're like about to like make out with them. They're like getting. I said that.
Didn't you say
Maybe I said that. I just wrote that down. I don't even remember what I said or not.
No, somebody said it. I just don't remember who.
In quotes, I'm like, I should have just put a name by it.
He doesn't remember what comes out of his mouth.
I know. That was funny,
I thought it was Jen, to be honest. But
yeah. That's a Jen comment.
What does that mean?
Oh, you know what it means.
Oh, boy.
The Dementors were portrayed pretty good in this, though. I thought they looked good.
Yeah. And like everything getting cold, you start to see their breath and stuff. That was a cool effect.
What'd you say? There's a whole sideshow going on right
always.
now.
There's always a sideshow.
I'm always trying to avoid the mic and I can't.
It always catches
go around
you.
It punches me back. Sorry. Continue.
Fitting, yeah. The Dementors, I thought, were portrayed really great.
Yes, they were.
And that scene was pretty good. They came out of nowhere, but I thought that was like the best way, because it reminded me of like Twister when they're in the field and it gets all dark. I'm like, what is this? It was kind of weird, and then I was like, oh, okay, like I'm appreciating the transition of the scene, because that's literally, it looked like a Twister was coming in the field.
Yep, like the aura around it was pretty cool. Like just the weather changes. And
then Umbridge is responsible for this.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you saying in the court case that we were trying to send the Dementors there or something?
It's interesting too that we're trying to separate the books and the movies, but there's a part where I think that what they were trying to do is make the movie supplementary to the books, because if you just watch the movie, you don't know that she was the one that sent the Dementors.
Well,
you
never
find that out.
Never
find that out.
Oh my goodness, you're
but
right.
In the
I
court
was shocked
case,
in the book when that happened. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. With Jen mentioning that line where she's like, you wouldn't be suggesting that the Ministry sent these Dementors.
Yeah.
If you read the books, you're like, oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
she's
how
evil.
bold is that? Yeah.
But just watching the movies,
goodness.
you don't know what the heck is going on. You're like, oh, that's terrible.
Is it like little nods to the readers?
I
Because
feel
it's
like
funny
it
that
is,
they put that in there anyway.
Yeah. I feel like it has to be little nods to them, but it
Yeah,
still
you're
bothers
right.
me. I'm like, give the movie-going experience credit too. Like, they've got to have that kind of thing in
But
there.
you watched the movies before you read the books, and like you were fine with the storyline, or were there pockets where you're like, I don't get this, but it doesn't matter?
There was pockets, but I'm not like you. I just accept it.
Yeah, right. No, that's true.
Like, I don't get this. That's okay.
And
I'll just
if
move
something's missing, I just
I'm more
assume it's me.
character driven. I'm more like
yeah, that's true.
I don't
we're
know.
opposites.
Yeah.
That.
What were you saying, Danny?
Oh, if I miss something in a movie or something, I just assume it's me. I'm like, there must have been something that like I was not paying attention for.
Jen's
or
like, I missed
whatever.
nothing.
I didn't do
get
it. The
all the
director
details.
missed it.
Jen is watching this with her magnifying glass.
Yeah. That's why
missed
it's
that.
fun. I watch things with my brother, and we're like the same. We're like, dissecting everything,
Yeah,
and
the
we're
detective.
Googling it.
Well, that's why I'm
and
like, it
everything.
just is what it is.
Another thing that disappointed me, Remember My Last wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
Petunia's
that's right.
storyline is getting really
I thought the Howler
cut.
was
Yeah.
gonna be
I know.
that one.
Because it's such a cool visual thing to do. There were so many things that are beautiful visual things in this book that they could have done.
And
And
what
they
is that gonna
delivered on
add,
some,
like
but
5 seconds.
I know exactly. I know. Just like throw an owl
Then at
in.
least
And,
the connection, excuse me, between the ant and like there would be more of a history of a connection.
It
Yeah.
would justify why he's even there.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to know the reasoning why
Yeah.
they take certain things out.
Yeah.
That
Because-
do take like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
This is maybe my biggest qualm for the whole movie. I'm gonna say that a lot.
Yeah, okay,
I've
yeah.
already said that like 3 times, right?
Yeah.
There's no Dumbledore download at the end of the movie.
Yep.
Like it's so short, and I think
yeah.
the reason for it is because Dumbledore explains Remember My Last. He explains Creature's whole story, backstory.
You're right.
Creature's cut from the movie, really. He explains like the whole Neville thing, which is my greatest problem I have with this movie.
It's the greatest,
It's
greatest one.
Neville. You like moviegoers.
Yeah.
He's nothing.
And Ginny.
No, exactly.
Ginny is so lame in
Ginny
this.
doesn't
terrible.
even exist.
I know.
And I was like, what the heck? She was like
So cool.
the badass or bad whatever. Sorry, I don't know what to rate this podcast. I don't know.
She is like coolest. She's the hot tamale.
Yeah.
And she's not a hot tamale in the movies at all.
Not a hot tamale. I'm glad they at least gave Neville one line, like when all the kids are being held by the Death Veil Arch thing. And he did say, like, don't give it to them, Harry. But that was just like one of the many times he said it in the book, and he was fighting and like, yeah, he got gypped.
Yeah.
Poor Neville.
We're gonna go over some of their lines too.
Oh, I in my head where we're like tracking through, like we're about the trial. But one other thing before that, when they were flying, again, the nuance is missed.
Yeah.
In the book, it was a big focus. Stay high above the clouds, avoid detection.
Oh,
and the movie, they're like, woo!
Parliament.
There's Big Ben. They're like just hanging out down there, brushing the water, giving high fives to pedestrians on the
don't
bridge.
respect the secrecy and the magic. I know.
On the magic carpet.
And you guys, here's my mindset. Oh, it's so pretty.
It is, but it is. I
This is
get
what
it.
they were doing with the movies. They're trying to make it visually beautiful. Like they can't
And you
just do
can
clouds.
imagine it too. Like, okay, they've got some spell. They can like make sure the pedestrians don't see him,
Yeah.
or Moody's just erasing minds as they go. All right, fine. Like we can
Well,
justify
minds
it,
to erase.
but it just feels weird because in the books
very
we know
busy.
that it was a different vibe.
Yeah.
It was secrecy. It was intense. It was like, all right, we're gonna go on 3. Everyone surround Harry. Do this. This is important. Be careful. And that was just not there.
Like, if that was like a 2-minute scene, if you're gonna cut something, I'm like, there's no reason to have. Okay, there's another weird part. Like there's a lot of weird tension between Harry and Tonks in this movie. Like if you look at the way Harry looks at Tonks sometimes when they're flying, they like have a little race off, but they look at each other and they're like, ooh. And then they go off and race. I'm like,
Well, he loves Tonks, so he's
what?
jealous
Yeah,
of Harry
I'm a
looking
big
at her
Tonks
like
fan.
that.
Tonks is my girl, but, but I'm like,
She's
Harry
way better in the
Never
movies
got
than
a
in the
hot
books.
tamale.
to me.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Huh?
She didn't get a hot tamale.
Did the hot tamale exist when she was kind of?
She's always a hot tamale for me.
Oh, respect.
We better tell Floor.
I know.
Well, the floor's taken
He
now.
switched.
Yeah, exactly. For
true.
yeah.
Had to back off.
That means off limits.
Yeah, that's Bill's girl now.
But why have a 2-minute flying scene? Like they don't even need that.
Yeah.
He used that time for other
I
stuff.
know exactly.
I mean, I like
Cut
the
that.
flying. But it's just.
It would have even been cool to see Tonks cleaning up, like putting all of Harry's
know.
stuff into the suitcase.
Yeah.
Remember when she did
Yeah,
that?
you're
Like,
right.
have that
Hair
moment.
chains.
Little things like
At least
that.
they had
yeah.
my moment at the table.
I know. I was like, that was pretty.
Yeah.
What moment was that?
Cool. Changing
At,
appearances, right?
Yeah, when she was changing her faces.
Oh, yes, to the
Her
duck
nose.
and
That
the.
little,
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah. Which I think, when was that? A couple podcasts ago. I said it was at
What?
the Weasley's place.
yeah,
The Burrow.
That's right.
I said it
We
was
all
at the
know.
Burrow. And I was like, that wasn't right. Had to correct myself.
They didn't have in that whole scene. They didn't have Dung Fletcher telling a story to
Oh
Fred,
my
George,
gosh,
and Ron,
that's
and then
right.
cracking up, which is fine. Mundungus is
forgot
like a
that part.
little character in this, but
The
that would've
ear
been
thing
fun.
was funny though when they had
Yeah.
the magic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
in,
was
and
funny.
and then was it Crookshanks that like started
Yeah.
playing with?
They overheard
Then
a
he
lot
pops
more
off.
rather
Yeah.
than having it be a face-to-face conversation with Harry, like in the books.
I don't remember. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
'cause
But
that
it
whole
was
thing was
again just to keep the
face-to-face.
pace. It
was
was,
forever
but again,
ago.
it felt more secretive. It's like
Yeah.
they're still keeping the kids out. They're kids. Adults are talking down here, and yeah, just a subtle difference. But
Because that conversation was a 13 at the table conversation, and they just
Yeah.
overheard that then on the extendable ears. Fred and George are phenomenal in this movie too. They're maybe the two best ones. I love when they apparate downstairs when Molly is welcoming Harry, and then she goes, "Well, you don't have to whip your wands out for it. Now that you're of age, you don't have to whip your wands out for everything." Like they're apparating, they're doing everything.
that
It's
is so
good.
great.
I don't really remember their scene like leaving though. Was it that like?
It was a thing, but not as big as it was in the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a week leading up to it.
Right. It was so fast.
They just did it during them taking OWLs. It was
That's
a good.
right,
It was
fell over.
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It was
the
good.
Fireworks. and
visually it was
Yeah.
cool, and then Flitwick's going yes. That was
Yeah.
such a great little part.
That was funny.
But I think Fred and George were great in this. There's a few other scenes we'll talk about later, but
I wrote that Dumbledore came into the trial like a bull, and he was not calm at all.
yeah,
That's the scene I hated with him.
He's supposed to
Yeah.
glide across the floor.
Yep.
He's supposed to bring calm, but instead he came in. He was like all tense. And
Witness so for the clunky. defense.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yep.
Chill. I asked why the Wizengamot people were in different colors, No real reason, nothing established. Right. Just kind of felt funny, but I liked it actually because it adds more depth to it. Like they're hinting at things, but we don't understand them. It's just like it's like a real organization. It has layers to it that are beyond Harry's understanding and ours. I wish Umbridge looked more like a toad.
At one point.
I was like, she does not look like a toad to me. I want real toad. I want moles on her face.
Yeah.
I want warts. I want a big old toad smile looking creepy thing. But no toads.
Yeah.
Her office was great though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very weird, off-putting.
With all the cats.
Yeah, her office was great. All the little like what are those called?
I even
China?
like the scene where the first Harry Potter detention.
When he's writing and getting...
She, like,
she was great in that.
Yep, that was good.
Ready, and then he takes out, no, you're going to use mine, and she's just waiting to hear like his agony. Disgusting.
Even though she's not Toad-like, she plays her really well.
Yes, so true.
Like the sweetness of it, where she thinks she's so righteous and sweet and perfect, and she's like enacting justice. Oh, she's evil.
Even with the centaur. Yeah. Now I'm like afraid I'm gonna say the wrong word.
Centaurian.
Yep. I liked her reaction to that too, because I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
It was shorter, but it was like capturing that whole vibe.
There was like that movie moment where she goes, "Tell them I mean no harm," and Harry goes, "Sorry, Professor. I must not tell."
Yeah,
that was
so
good.
That was like
great. Line.
Good movie moment, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back kind of thing. You're like, ooh, stick it to her.
Yeah, that was good.
And in the movies, she gets her wand snap, which is kind of satisfying. Her butt plug wand, but another thing that was interesting.
I guess Tonks must have a big Tonka-tonk. Right?
What? She must. I don't get it.
He likes her.
And that's why she must. Okay, yeah.
Tonka-tonk.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah.
One thing was
talking about that, so.
The Ministry of Magic I thought looked really good. I like that. One thing that frustrated me was when you go in, if you've read the books, when they're going into the trial, you see the fountain, you see this huge wizard, the Centaurian, the goblin, and I forgot what else was there. A house elf. You see this fountain and it's huge, and you're like, oh, I can't wait till this thing is reanimated later. And they actually use it, and they don't do that.
I know.
Why would
so
they?
Bummed. It could have been so cool visually. Like I'm like, put the time and effort into a really cool CGI fight at the end. Well, not like completely CGI, but like make the fight with Dumbledore and Voldemort look incredible. It did look pretty cool.
It did look very cool. Yeah,
but it wasn't
what's from the book.
I know, because the book does it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, the visual elements of the book, just put it into a movie format and you're good.
I love that Bellatrix was like pinned down.
Yeah.
She was just gone.
I know.
Yeah, wait, how did that go? How did she leave?
She just disappeared.
She's
like, I'm out of here.
She slides through a chimney, one of the fireplaces, and just disappears,
Wow.
With like a little
so strange
look on her face looking at Voldemort. Like,
she was great.
Right. She's so good.
Trying to get her man.
Yeah, I know.
I wish she had more lines though, too.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get much.
Yeah.
I'm like, you picked such a great actress and you didn't even use her.
I know.
Yeah.
To her potential.
But she did have an impact still.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
But not as much. I didn't like how much Mel likes her. Like, Mel. Mel was like, she's my favorite. She's so awesome. Go, Bella. I'm like,
You're sitting here
Mel.
watching this like, she is the worst.
We hate her.
awful.
And then I was like, oh, this is how you guys must feel when I cheer for Umbridge.
Yes, there you go. Taste your own medicine.
I was like, all right, taste my own medicine. Fair.
How does it taste?
Bitter.
One thing I like in the trial scene too, there were a few good lines here that I feel like they added good lines into the movie that weren't in the books, but that were like good themes of the books too. Because in the beginning, Arthur, when he's bringing Harry into the trial, says, as the Muggles say, truth will out. I feel like that's a good byline of the whole theme of the movie and the book. Like, truth will out. Like, by the end, the truth becomes known, and so
will out.
Yeah, the truth will out. Yeah. I don't say that as a Muggle. I don't say truth will out.
It must be a British Muggle
Yeah, maybe
thing.
It's a British Muggle phrase.
Truth will come out.
Yeah, the truth will. Yeah, the truth will win out. I guess the truth will come out.
I don't like it that way. But
yeah, it's a little weird.
It doesn't. Yeah. Anyway.
Doesn't roll off the tongue. But I like that they set that up. Like the
If you
truth
say
is
in
going
the
to come out.
accent, maybe it sounds
Truth
better.
will out.
Yeah, it sounds better.
Ooh, yeah, that
I don't know.
sounds
I
good.
don't do a good, very good
profound.
Arthur Weasley one. We talked about Figgy at the trial. That's a little weird. We talked about in the book of how she kind of lies, which
Didn't
is
they
weird.
show the map too of the Ministry of Magic first? Right, it came up as like a map, and then they went into. Or am I
in the books?
Something else? Oh nope! It was.
You're thinking of the map in the. Yep.
Yeah. That was
Which
so
is
helpful.
a great
combining
map.
elements.
I thought it
it's
was
so
in there.
helpful.
I was like, that would have been cool, like like just the map flowing.
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
And then it like shows them going in.
That'd have been great.
Anyways,
What did you guys think of?
so many things.
Okay, so there are two questions I have. What do you think about Sirius giving the photo to Harry rather than?
It was
You know
a
what?
totally different vibe.
Yeah,
Different vibe.
100%.
And with the different vibe, it was good.
Yeah.
But just very different from the book. Because Harry's not supposed to like the picture. It made him uncomfortable.
Yep.
And it fit Moody in the
Repulsed by it.
books.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's just, ugh. So then we know that. So we see Sirius showing him the picture. And we're like, oh, but this is like hurting Harry. It's hard for him.
Didn't Sirius get mad, or am I making that
Yes,
up? In the book?
that's why I thought it was good because
That
they
he showed
connected
him.
Sirius
Yeah.
and Harry again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like their relationship.
Right.
Because Sirius understood his emotions.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it also kind of worked. It was like an endearing
connects
thing. It was
them.
like, here's a picture
True,
and whatever.
But that
Different.
I didn't like how he turned back from a dog to a person like out in public.
Yeah, that was careless.
Yeah.
It's not good.
That was a
It was
little
not the right time for it.
I
Yeah.
guess it worked though because someone was watching and like on guard.
It was also a
Yeah.
little weird when he transformed back into a person. He put like the fur coat over him and he was
yeah.
like naked. You're like,
I was like,
I was like,
okay,
wait,
I
did
never
they
really
have that
thought
coat?
about that.
I know.
Like,
Where
whose
the
coat
heck
is
did that
that?
come from?
like, what the heck is going on here?
And if you're gonna plant a coat, plant an
Yeah.
outfit. So you're
That's
not,
another thing. That's not how the magic works. When the magic works with McGonagall, when she transforms, she has like it looks like she's wearing glasses as she's a cat. It says that in the first book. But when she transforms and
Ooh.
she's wearing glasses, I'm like, do that.
Yeah.
Make it look like Sirius has some kind of
Can
markings
he
as
carry his
Yeah,
wand when he's in animal form?
Probably. I think so.
Because that's...
I
Yeah, I
don't-
guess
I
you're
don't know,
right.
but-
You're right. Like, he goes into an animal and then he's got a way
Like,
of
where
like...
Yeah.
could it-
shove it up somewhere.
Oh, boy.
Moving on.
Because it's just weird. Because then couldn't you make your own clothes?
Really practical, though.
Yeah, the practicality, I'm just like confused. Because then you transform back into a human, you can be like, there's a clothing spell, right? Maybe.
But where is your wand? That's great.
Oh,
Shoved
it's in a
somewhere.
collar. He just when he's human, he
Yeah.
always carries a dog collar wand
I love
holder.
that.
Does he have a
Yep.
pocket? Can he have a
Yeah.
pocket?
It's like a
somewhere?
kangaroo dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Kangaroo
Yeah, little pouch.
dog.
They all got little
Pouch, yeah.
pouches. They keep all their belongings in. What did you guys think about Voldemort being in the train station? That little vision that Harry had,
Jen probably loved seeing him.
looking like a babe in a suit too.
I thought it
Nothing like
was good.
Voldemort in a suit.
I thought it worked for the movie.
Yeah, it's like it kind of establishes a little bit of the connection that they have
But
with
you
each
also,
other.
I
Yeah.
feel like, was it just Harry like dreaming it, or was he
Yeah.
actually there? So I thought that was kind of a good mysterious pull.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just, I guess it's just to remind you about Voldemort. Like that's what I was like. Why is it there?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
No?
Felt out of place. I thought when that happened that Harry's visions were going to be more visual, tangible while he was awake. I thought that was going to be a movie thing. But then it never came back. It's not like he's walking around Hogwarts and he keeps like turning the corner and seeing Voldemort. And then like I thought they were going to tie that in at the end when Voldemort's actually there. He was going to think it was one of those, but then it was actually him. So it felt a little out of place that it was just one and done, because if he was asleep and then all of a sudden he like jolts awake on the train, then I'd be like, okay, you know, it was a dream. It was something like that. But I was like, is he seeing Voldemort? This feels weird. He wasn't like weird about it. He wasn't panicky.
Yeah. Was
Voldemort actually there? I just was a little confused by it. It did set a creepy tone. Not bad in the movie. Again, one of those things that goes by. I don't really think much about it. But a bit of a strange choice.
Yeah.
I would have preferred it another way, like a dream at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Something. Yeah.
And they did cut a lot of the train scene too. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
really in the train that goes on. And that there's a chapter in the book on that, like what goes on in the train. That's where he meets Luna. But they meet Luna in with the Thestrals, which I actually thought was kind of effective too. Like introducing these things a little earlier, which is just kind of the same as the books they introduced it there.
Those were cool.
But yeah, they look great. That's one of the crowning achievements of this movie. They made those things look so good. They could have flubbed that really bad, but I think they crushed it.
I would have loved to have seen them like riding something invisible though, like the ones I couldn't see.
Oh yeah.
The Thestrals were riding something invisible and afraid, and then Harry and Luna. That would have been
really cool. Because then you would have gotten like the terror that Ron feels.
Yeah.
He's like straddling this thing and he has like there's nothing there.
But you feel something there, but you don't see it.
Yeah. That's just so weird. So weird.
I liked the baby Thestral when we see Luna and Harry out in the.
Oh, that was cute. Oh, Luna. She
so good.
So good.
And this is something that I actually liked in the whole book. You kind of like Luna. She's a little weird, a little odd, but you really like her at the end. In the movie, I feel like they established liking Luna even earlier.
Yeah.
With that scene with Harry, I'm like, I actually thought that was effective because it's better. It's so good in the books because this is like the moment where Luna comes in the moment exactly where Harry needs her.
Yeah.
Absolute grief, and like Luna can comfort him. But in this moment, I think it's like, it's great. You get to know Luna earlier. You're like, this girl is cool. Gives her little baby some baby Thestral some meat.
Oh yeah.
She's good. There was a few funny things in here too that I liked. When Dumbledore is introducing a few things, he introduces Grubbly Plank to take over for Hagrid, and when he does that, one of my favorite little things is Snape just goes like this, like a lame little clap, like a lazy clap, and then Trelawney is sitting there still eating, and she's got her big like bug eye glasses, and she's like looking out with a fork in her mouth, like, huh? It's so good. I love that.
Awesome.
And then there's another thing when they all get back to the well, I actually paused this because this is the first time I've seen it, where when he gets in a fight with Seamus, however you say it.
Oh yeah.
And Ron stops the fight and he goes, "Does anybody else have a problem with Harry?" And then the Pavarti sisters, Padma, right? Or no, who is it? Padma and Pavarti? Pavarti nudges her sister, which her sister's in Ravenclaw, not in Hufflepuff, not in Gryffindor. But she nudges her sister as if she has a problem with Harry for the dual ball thing, which I loved. I thought that was so good. A small little thing. I'm like, those sisters did that on purpose. I'm like, that wasn't really in the script, but like, hey, you have a problem with Harry. You got to like play this up. And I love that. I thought that was so good. Such a good little part. How do you guys like the classroom setups that they're going when they're like going to classes, when they're meeting Umbridge, when they go to her class? How did you like kind of like the middle of this movie?
I felt like it was a nice setup and flow. It looked. I think I was just. I can't remember exactly, but I thought I remembered not liking the way the room of requirement like appeared, or I might have said something.
Yeah, because Neville just walks by it.
Yeah, I didn't like that, but the room looked cool once they were in it. Like it was very effective as illustrating that. But I just didn't like the transition of like finding it because they took out Dobby. They took out like a lot of core story that I don't know.
Okay.
And then being able to see, well, I guess that was kind of neat. Like when they were trying to catch the Dumbledore's army, the Umbridge and her people, and the door would just get like smaller, so like they couldn't get in.
Yeah, that was great. They like bursted in. It was like a little broom closet.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat, even though it's different. But.
Yeah.
And then Cho being the traitor.
I know. Cho's the traitor.
That actually is a good touch.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was fine because I don't really no one liked Cho, but I wish that they went on a little date, like a quick little blurb.
You're right.
So you could get a feel of their relationship and how it dwindles.
You don't really get anything.
Yeah, we don't get a thing.
They kissed and then it just dwindles.
Kiss then betrayal.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic Judas moment.
Little Judas moment there.
But it was just weird because we never like actually liked her that much, or maybe just because we knew it didn't end that well. Watching the movie, I wasn't like, oh yeah, Cho and Harry, this is so great. But in the book, I think I rooted for her a little more. And in the movie, I never really rooted for her. I wasn't like, oh, this is gonna be great.
Because there was no relationship.
Yeah, there was nothing to go
There's
off of.
nothing.
Yeah, so it lacked
just
substance.
I was just gonna say that, some looks and a kiss.
Danny
Not
liked,
even the great looks.
Yeah.
No.
Because Radcliffe was just like.
Yeah, blank expressions. Ron's facial expressions win every single movie.
His
facial
so
expressions
good.
are so good.
Yeah.
Classic sideshow again.
Come on, guys.
Guys, we're right here.
the
Talk
mics.
to us.
Sorry.
There was a moment where Hermione
Hermione
and Ron were flirting, and Danny just goes, well. You can see they're flirting a lot more clear. in this movie, which I
not
think is
subtle.
funny.
It's in your face.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they were
But
doing
the
in that
book is
moment.
more subtle. I
Yeah.
guess it has
Yeah.
to be though, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's longer and drawn.
Yeah,
out.
for sure. Like you get hints of it in
Build
the book.
that
You're like, oh, these
friendship
two, they like each other in
first.
some way. And the movies, it's a lot more explicit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Not like that.
Can't win with you
Come on.
guys.
Whatever.
Said the
makes
word.
Yeah, I
I
know.
want to laugh, okay? That's how I laugh.
Inappropriate jokes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
We get along so well.
It felt like the fire when Sirius was communicating with Harry. It was different now than it was before.
Yeah.
Before he was like in the embers, and now he was just like a
Yeah,
holographic
like a flame,
face
yeah, like a
in
little
the flames.
Oh, really? I don't remember the difference between the two
Yeah.
movies.
And for whatever reason, when he said Voldemort's name, I was like, oh, whoa. I kind of forgot that Sirius was saying Voldemort's name as well. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, but
Standing
Umbridge
up
doesn't
to him.
interrupt him during that scene either, like she did in the book,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He just disappears because someone's coming.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Umbridge
Oh, yeah,
is,
you're
like,
right.
guarding, like watching everything, which would have been great because it would have shown another side of how annoying she was
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
and
Yep.
controlling.
Yeah, we'll get to that scene too, because they went to her office mainly because they were trying to find a way to get to the Ministry. It wasn't there. They were checking on Sirius. They completely like rewrote that end scene too. Someone just
And there was no mirror at all.
yeah. Oh, I know.
No mirror?
At the end,
Oh, the
Sirius.
gift from
That
Sirius,
makes me
yeah.
so sad.
I know.
Well,
It's
then
so
I'm like, does that mean
devastating,
it
I know.
doesn't come back into play later? Or it's just another thing they cut from
Yeah.
the books when they make the movies?
Yeah.
But yeah, because you've always said that there's things that they like cut, so like later on it can't like
Yeah.
come back up. So I'm curious.
Yeah,
Like,
they just
There
closed
were
the door on
things
it.
that we-
Again, yeah, this is my problem with Neville's characterization in the books is he's just Dobby. They take Dobby's roles
Yeah,
and they
you're
make
right.
Neville do them. And that happened in the last two movies. And I'm like,
Oh, interesting.
we now know Neville is like a pretty important part of this movie or important part of the plot. And if he gets more important later, then what are they going to do with it? Like they can't just reintroduce him as like this important character because they've missed half of his important stuff. They missed his whole backstory. So unless they do that in
A
some condensed
flashback.
version
Yep.
in like the next two movies, you don't get
Wow,
anything.
his whole backstory. You're right.
Yeah,
I
which
do
is
like
the worst
that he
part of this
found
movie.
the room of requirement. Yeah, that is the worst thing. But it stinks that they have to choose between two characters we like,
Yeah.
Dobby and Neville. We want them
Exactly.
both to
I
get some
know,
spotlight.
Exactly, I know. Someone, okay, this is really cool. I didn't know this. Oh, you're good. This is how Luna was cast.
Ooh.
She went to a book signing. She was battling anorexia. And at the book signing, she asked JK if she can be cast as Luna. And JK told her if she beats anorexia, she can play Luna, which is, someone said that's the condensed version. But
No way.
how cool is that?
crazy.
What
And
in
she
the
is
world?
a perfect Luna. I
Yeah,
feel like
she
she nails that role so well. So how cool
Oh
is
my
that?
goodness. I like that there's something so pure about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about using acting roles as motivation to
Yeah.
beat disorders, but there's something pure about the idea that she read the books, liked the books, and connected with a character
Yeah.
and wanted to play that character,
Yeah.
as opposed to an actor who's doing a job or an agent sends something over and you should try out for this and make money this. Like, I like that she saw the character and thought, I could do that
Yeah.
and do it well.
Same. Yeah. I really like that. I think that's pretty good. I know other people, like there were other, I think Percy, I think that I heard this story that Percy, the guy who plays Percy, wanted to play Ron, I want to say.
Whoa, that's
But
polar
he
opposite.
realized he was a little too old, so he just wanted to play any of the Weasleys, and I think he got cast as Percy.
Oh.
So they were all kind of going for different things. I think that's what the story was. Or maybe he wanted to play Bill or something like that. One of the cool brothers.
Yeah. They're like, no, you're not cool enough. How about you play the annoying brother everyone
You look like a nerd.
Yeah.
We don't like you as a casting. Oh, this is perfect. Let's make you as Percy. Because we don't
He's like,
like
no.
you.
He looks like Percy.
Anything
but
Percy.
Sorry,
fits him
dude.
so well.
Yeah, he's like, I want to have long hair and dragon skin boots.
I want to
And
be cool.
oh man.
I do have to say, one of my favorite transitions in any movie of all time, not just the Harry Potter movies, is when Luna has this little chunk of meat. She throws it to the Thestral. The Thestral goes and is chomping on the meat, and all of a sudden, the next scene you get is Ron digging into a sausage, going
Fantastic.
He's like going at it.
Yeah, that was good.
Such-
That was
Perfect
really
for
good.
him though, because
Such a perfect one.
he just feed him, just eat him. Like a mess.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to chat.
Sorry, this thing is gonna be popping so.
Dunkin' Donuts mugs.
I liked in Hogshead when they were getting Dumbledore's army started. I thought Harry's acting, it seemed very like earnest. It seemed it was authentic. He really felt humble to me in that moment. And there were times watching the movies where he didn't feel so humble. But that really, it felt to me like he was humble. He's like, this isn't me. This is pure chance. This is the people around me. This is luck. This is bigger than just us. This is just good versus evil. He was like pleading with the people a little bit. And I like that scene. I thought it felt very real, very human.
Yeah, kind of agree. I think he did pretty good in that one. That whole scene, I mean, they cut some things that were, I guess, cuttable. Like they were all signing that little piece of parchment, but they didn't really explain any of that kind of stuff. Which is they cut Marietta, so that doesn't make.
Oh right.
I mean, like if they're cutting all that stuff, it's almost like worth it to cut that stuff. But you kind of want. That's where Hermione is shining in this book, and she doesn't shine so much in the movie.
Yep.
She's brilliant. Hermione is so brilliant in this because she's coming up with stuff that is like she comes up with the Order or Dumbledore's army. She comes up with the way to catch the snitch. She comes up with like. Half the important stuff in this book.
The article written for the Quibbler.
Exactly.
Right,
you get that completely.
Yep.
All cut.
She was right in the end to say, let's not go to the Ministry.
I know. And you don't get almost any of that kind of stuff.
Any of that. You're right.
So that's why it was hard. I guess Emma Watson did as best as she could, but
yeah.
What do you guys think of the montages in this? There were 2 montages of Umbridge, pretty much, and they were doing one was her, like cleaning up the school and doing some of the educational decrees.
That was at least funny.
Yeah.
All the decrees on the wall.
I mentioned to you guys when she walks by those guys with their shirts untucked and she tucks them in. I thought it was, for the longest time when I watched that movie, I thought she was pinching their butts.
And you're like, why is she doing this?
Because butts. Guys' butts.
Classic.
So I thought she walked by them and like pinched their butts like as a cute little thing. Like, oh, these guys are cute. Which would be like, probably sexual harassment.
Say,
Probably wouldn't be a teacher anymore.
Yep.
That's funny.
I also love in that montage where she's in Snape's class and she says something to Snape about the defense against the dark arts. She's like, but you weren't selected, and Snape goes, obviously. And after she leaves, he takes a notebook and just hits Ron over the head with it. I actually really like that. I think that was so great. The movie also makes you hate Filch.
Ugh.
But he's like the comedic element to it, which is good because in the books he's not the comedic, he's just dark. Filch is just weird in the books, and I feel like they did a good job of flipping him and making him like comedic in the movies.
Yep. Even just his run.
Yeah, I know.
It's so weird. Like high knees as he's
so
like
good. Emma Thompson is so good in this movie though.
Yep.
As Trelawney in that whole scene where she's getting sacked.
Yeah.
That's like almost one of the emotional thrusts of this movie too, where she's about to get sacked and she's like, Hogwarts is my home.
But then you don't even understand why.
Yeah, for sure.
So that I don't know if I just watched the movie. Yeah, I feel like I just don't. I guess it's so hard because I can't disconnect the two. But I'm like, I feel like I wouldn't know what the heck was going on.
Yeah, I know.
I and I would be annoyed.
Yeah. You just don't. Yeah, you don't get the small details because again, this movie is paced quick. So like, I was trying to think of that too when I was watching this. If I had never read the books, would I understand some of the stuff that's going on? And I don't know if I would. But it just kind of does go over your head. You're like, oh yeah, maybe she's a bad teacher, so that's why she's getting sacked, or she's, but you don't really understand why.
Yeah, I think I just thought like Umbridge sucks, so
yeah,
she's just getting rid of people.
But then you kind of, do we know that it's her in the prophecy later on? That's what I was like.
No,
you don't really know it was her.
You don't know anything with the prophecy.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. Oh, because it didn't even do it. It broke.
Yeah, Harry sees it in the thing.
Anything.
You only get the part that Harry or that Voldemort heard. It was the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. He will have power the Dark Lord knows not, and neither can live while the other survives. That's pretty much all that Voldemort heard. He didn't. There was nothing about Neville in there, which obviously, or there was nothing about when the kid was born. It was an incomplete prophecy. But
we don't know Trelawney.
Yeah, you don't know Trelawney did it. Yep.
That's stupid.
I know. I know. It's so annoying.
Because then maybe at least you could have that connection.
Yeah.
Okay, she was sad and like this was her home, and then you see like the importance of her maybe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
It wasn't her face didn't pop up or anything. Nothing. Yeah. I can't remember. So I'm like visualizing the book and like.
Yep.
Right.
And this is a book question. Do you think that the reason that Dumbledore, like, why did Dumbledore hire Trelawney? Is that evident to you guys?
To protect her.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't get that in the movies. Dumbledore doesn't seem like he's a mastermind. He just seems like he hires terrible teachers because you don't know that Trelawney is the one that gave that prophecy. So you're like, Dumbledore just brought like this weird, terrible lady who doesn't know what she's doing onto staff. You're like, he just seems careless. But in the books, he's doing this calculated. He's like protecting her from Voldemort, which is noble and admirable and actually really cool that he's doing that. Even though he thinks this is like a stupid subject, even though he was going to cancel it. He was going to cut the class. Yeah. He's doing this to protect someone, which I think is really cool. And students are subjected to take this class now, which sucks, but you put up with it for protection of people. I think it's cool.
It's an elective though, right? Those don't matter.
Yeah. Exactly. Also, I hate when Dumbledore leaves after that sacking scene and he goes, "Don't you all have studying to do?" Who the heck is this person?
Terrible Dumbledore. That's not my Dumbledore.
What scene
when he saves Trelawney, when Trelawney's about to be sacked, and he's leaving, and Harry's like, Professor Dumbledore, and he leaves and he goes, "Don't you all have studying to do?" And he just walks up. Come on, are you kidding?
Or even if he said that with like a twinkle in his eye and
a
smirk, that'd be fine.
Yeah, seriously. Just the way you deliver that line is terrible. It's awful.
Who gave him tips on this character is what I'd like to know. They failed miserably.
Yeah.
I do not know.
And J.K. Rowling didn't say anything? Like, she couldn't be like, no, you're getting him all wrong.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Oh, well, it makes me kind of angry.
I know. I hope she's more involved in this next one where she kind of like micromanage some of the stuff or just pick better actors to do this stuff.
Or at least she'd be on set and be like, no, that's not portraying.
Yeah. I don't know.
Him.
I don't know if I'm not going to say this actually.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
In my notes,
as always,
I'm saying I don't know if we're at the part where he like with Mr. Weasley getting attacked, but that's my next note.
Yeah.
I said Harry's anger in Dumbledore's office felt a little out of place when Mr. Weasley got attacked. I don't remember exactly why, but I feel like he was frustrated that Dumbledore wasn't looking at him, and he yelled at him like, "Look at me!" Really intense.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah. Like I get it, but it still felt a little too extreme. I was like defensive of Dumbledore in that moment.
Yeah.
But again, in the movie, Dumbledore's much more abrasive. So maybe in the movie it makes sense where Harry's like, you're being legit rude right now. Like, shape up.
Yeah. Seriously. There's a few parts of that scene that I just didn't like. That where he loses his cool there. I mean, Harry kind of does lose his cool in certain parts of the movie. Mm-hmm. And in the books, obviously. But I just don't think he nailed like Harry's angst and anger very well.
Yeah, because you're not getting it in between.
Yeah,
you need those fillers to build up to that. Because if you're exploding, you have to have a build up. Yeah. There's a reason why you're not getting that. And in the movies,
like, he goes off on people, and like Hermione has to back him down. He's like, look, but there's one weird scene in the beginning where Malfoy walks past him, and he says, I forget exactly what the line is, and Harry lashes out at him and just goes, stay away from me, and Ron literally has to like hold him back, and Ron's looking at him, he's like, it's just Malfoy. You're like, where did that come from for Harry? Like, he maybe is angry, but you don't get any of the lead up. You're like, this justifies that. He just seems like angry all the time, but it's not like the good anger that he has in the books, I think. Not good anger, but not the right anger, I think. But there's even like when he's going into Dumbledore's office, there's one scene that I was really bummed they missed, where McGonagall like screens Harry and she says, okay, I believe you, let's go to the headmaster. They didn't have that scene, which I missed. I was like, that is huge for Harry, because someone believes him, and that like leads him on to really like thinking that he's right in a lot of the stuff. That's what leads him to the end of the movie on thinking he's right in this vision. Like, McGonagall kind of believes me with this stuff, so I was right about this, so I have to be right about this other one. You don't get that, which I think was a little bummer to me. Right before that,
like scene in the hospital with Arthur Weasley too, though.
I know
Harry didn't even go.
Didn't go to the hospital.
But like, did you actually know that he did anything? Harry, like, it barely said that he like saved Arthur's.
Well, they did.
One of the
cheers to Harry, I think, at some point later. Yeah. When they're in 12 Grimmauld, it's like, you know, thanks to Harry, I'm here or something, right? Yeah. But all St. Mungo's was skipped, certainly. And then I think Harry got whisked off to do occlumency with Snape right from Dumbledore's office or something.
That could have been like a 5-minute scene, right?
Yeah.
I know,
Neville's parents.
Right, I know.
But they never did any background.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great, because that's why it's such a good combo. Some Mr. Weasley stuff, some family moments, and some actual sorrow, some pain, and then, meeting Neville's parents.
Because the only backstory that you got on Neville is Neville looking at that picture and going, 16 years ago or something, my Bellatrix Lestrange tortured my parents.
Oh, we do get that.
I am really proud of them. But this is the whole idea of when in writing show, don't tell. In the movie, Neville says, I'm still really proud of him. And you're like, oh, that's a good line. In the books, he saves a gum wrapper. Right. And you're like, that's the moment right there. Show me that he's proud of his parents. And that's the exact moment that you get. His mom hands him a gum wrapper and he takes it and he puts it in his pocket, that he's going to save it for later.
Oh, I get it. Like, show, not tell. Yeah. That makes sense.
Whereas like that shows his pride in his parents, that he's not ashamed of his parents, that he loves his parents still so much, rather than him just saying that. And I think that's more effective. I think that's way more effective.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's writing. So I guess visual might be a little different. I think this movie, one thing this movie nails is flirtation, like we talked about before. But in the department of not department, in the, I can't think of it, room of requirement, right before everyone's about to leave, Cho is just kind of hanging out in the back, and Ron and Hermione they like look at each other in like a little flirtatious way, and they look at Harry, they go, see you in the common room, Harry, and they both leave and they kiss. And then when they come back, their whole conversation, Harry's like, it was wet, how was the kiss? It was wet. And then Hermione, that's her best delivered line, when she's like, she must be feeling this and this and this. And then Ron goes, one person can't feel all that, they'd explode. And she goes, just because you have the emotional range of a teaspoon, doesn't that mean all the rest of us do, or something? And they all giggle and laugh at that. I thought that was one of the best scenes.
Yeah, that is
I love that they all laughed at that.
Yes.
That was really cute, and like a sign of camaraderie, and just like letting loose for a second.
Yes, poking fun, but all in teasing, and yeah.
After the whole scene that Mr. Weasley gets better, how did you like the scene when they're going back to Hogwarts? Like when Sirius and Harry are in the family tree room, all that kind of stuff.
Can I backtrack?
Yes.
Like same scene, but like, did we know it was a snake that attacked Arthur Weasley? Yeah. Barely.
It was hinted at because yes, I think we did, because we're seeing from the snake's perspective, Harry was. And you feel the slithering side to side. And I think there was something reflective The
like
snake looked at something and saw
Harry,
itself briefly.
It looks in like the mirror in one of the Department of Mystery.
Okay, yeah, because Harry did know, and then at Mr. Weasley, it was like multiple strikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got the feeling. I think you hear some like hissing or something, but it was subtle. It wasn't anything too crazy, and it was weird. It never got explained properly either. In fact, it still hasn't. Why was he a snake? Nagini?
We don't even know who that is, though, do we? From only movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do, because Nagini still slithered by Frank at the beginning of.
You know her name and everything.
I don't. You know what? I think
Voldemort
we maybe
says
heard her name once.
Voldemort says it once or twice in the movie.
Snakes and Voldemort.
Well,
Barely.
we still don't know that.
Yeah.
That is still weird to me. Like, why Harry was seeing from Nagini's eyes, unless Voldemort can turn into a snake sometimes, but I don't think so. I don't.
Well, also we don't know that Voldemort like survived by going through different like.
Yeah, you're right.
Snakes too.
Did that ever come up?
No, not in the movie.
Well, maybe in the graveyard, he might have mentioned it like in a line in passing, like, and Wormtail rescued me when I was jumping around from creature to creature. Like, he might have made some offhanded comment, but I can't remember.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Either way, if it's not said at all, then we're just kind of left filling in those details.
Associate a snake
Yeah.
with that. It's
Yeah.
so weird.
But yeah, I mean, come to think of it, that I just feel like we haven't really gotten an answer on that yet. And another thing that I couldn't remember if it was said directly in the book, but again, the subtlety is missing in the movies. It was said so outright in this scene with the family tree. Sirius said he ran away from his parents when he was 16 and stayed with the Potters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting. So at some point between 16 and 21, in that 5-year span, we don't know, but the Potters' parents are gone.
Yeah.
Killed, run away. I don't know. But now it just brought up the idea of, wow, Sirius ran away from home and stayed with Harry's grandparents. And we don't even know who they are. But he lived with the Potters for years then, it seems, or at least for a while. So that story gets a little deeper, and it just makes me wonder, like, what happened there? And what was the moment where he decided to run away? And is that the same moment that things happened with Snape, that, you know, things were going on in the Shrieking Shack or whatever else? So another hint that I think we're going to find out more about that backstory there.
Yeah. It's interesting that why they even put some of those lines in there. I think he delivers lines well. I actually think Sirius does a good job of delivering some of those lines. Like, even when he says, or Harry asks him, where did you go? And he goes, your dad's. I feel like that single line is actually really good. You're like, oh, wow, there's something behind there that you just don't know of yet. Even when he says, like, the world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters, I thought he delivered that line really well. I thought that was really good.
He seems much more mature in the movies.
I believe that.
What?
Yeah, that is your thing. You're like, you're either good or you're a Death Eater.
Jen's like, no, you're wrong, Sirius.
You're priming to be.
Which is stupid. This is another part that it drives me crazy that a lot of people make comments of in this movie. Sirius says the world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. And then literally, Death Eaters, they apparate and their smoke is black, and the good people apparate and their smoke is white. You're like, okay. What is this? In the end of the movie, when the Order of the Phoenix comes in, they all apparate as like white smoke, and you're like, what the heck is going on here?
Catch that?
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
One thing that even you mentioned, Sirius seems more mature in the movies, which is weird for two reasons. I think one is that you don't get his angst in the movies really. In the books, he's so much more angsty and so much more like mad and grumpy that he's like stuck in the house.
He's restless. He's just like
which
always moving.
That makes you understand almost why he goes out of the house to rescue Harry. I mean, he would still do it even if he wasn't feeling that. But I actually thought the movie did well because I feel like it delivered. I don't think the end did this very well, but it could have set it up where Sirius's death is almost more painful because he's like a father figure and because he's mature in the movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, Harry like lost his father figure.
Right.
Maybe that's why I was more connected to Sirius.
Yeah.
No, you're right. If I had
the
just
movie,
watched the movies, I would have been much more connected.
Yeah.
He's a much more, sorry, book Sirius, much more respectable, mature father figure.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
I mean, he does seem more like an old man too. I'm like, how old is he supposed to be? Like,
he does a good as Sirius though.
I don't think they did justice with the fighting scene though, like his death and everything.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know. That was so dumb. Because she Avada Kedavras him, and he still has like a look on his face. That's again the thing. They don't respect the magic. They don't understand what's going on. Bellatrix literally uses a killing curse on Sirius, and Sirius like looks over almost like he's not dead yet, and then he falls into the veil. I guess why they did that is they have to like confirm up a bit that he's dead, but then you just get Harry's grief. It's not like, oh, he's going to come back. I guess they can't play into that much in the movies, but they don't respect the magic, you know. That whole scene, how he died, was just stupid. I'll ask
it was
you.
so final.
I know, yeah.
Ugh.
Which in the books, it's not. Harry's
not
like,
all.
oh, he's just going to appear.
Did he say that line too? Did Sirius say that line? Like, is that the best you got? No, because he wasn't even fighting Bellatrix. He was fighting Malfoy.
Yep. And then Bellatrix just cast a spell, like popped up.
And another reason to feel more like sorry for him, because it was like a cheap shot from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But in the books, it's a one-on-one fight, and it was like almost like his arrogance got in the way of him focusing.
And that's why maybe you're right. Maybe I would have liked the version of the movie Sirius than in the book, because I'm like, you just kind of, not that he did it to himself, because obviously not really, but like his arrogance and pride and everything was a lot higher in the book, and that bothers. I don't like that character trait.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like him less in the book.
No, that makes sense.
There's a line that I want to talk about that it's really controversial that some people actually love, some people don't.
I was gonna say that. We're gonna talk about it
we'll
now,
get there in a bit, not right now. There's one thing that I wanted to mention that was really funny when we were watching it. Okay, so there's actually a part that I like where Filch,
you actually liked something?
is taking the paintings off the wall and like tilting the people out of the portraits. I'm like, that's a great. I feel like Umbridge would do that. She would clean the castle up like that, take all the paintings off, and the paintings seem very Dumbledore-like. But there was a funny part when we were watching the movies where you, Kristen, just go during that scene. You just say he needs to get laid.
No, I said that about Umbridge.
Or you said Umbridge. You said she just needs to get laid, and then I said I thought you meant Filch for a second, and then Danny goes, 2 birds with 1 stone.
I mean,
I was dying when I read it. That was so funny.
I'm so glad you said that, not
me. You were thinking it, Jen. We all know you were thinking
that. Just came out. I mean, it's true. Help her out a little bit.
Yeah. Get some of that intensity out. She could relax a little bit.
They had the hammer for like all those.
Yeah.
Decrees.
Yes. There were so many decrees. In the book, it was 3, I think. Maybe 4. It was a little absurd, but...
Yeah. The wall was just filled with them. And then it was fun because when Fred and George leave, they like...
Oh, yeah, that was good, too.
That was kind of
a nice visual.
What do you think of Harry learning occlumency, though? Did you think it was well done? Do you think it was kind of rushed in the movies? What do you think? Is it not memorable?
Always rushed.
Yeah.
No, it was memorable because Snape is so memorable to me. He's such a commanding presence that I feel like that scene still felt big. I kind of liked that Harry got into Snape's mind rather than using the pensieve, because the pensieve felt like Harry crossing the line, but Harry just fighting back against Snape felt maybe not true to the story, but I liked seeing it because it made Harry seem more powerful. Yeah. Like, he's naturally good at this stuff. He is accidentally reading Snape's thoughts. But then the scene was so rushed in Snape's mind, we didn't really understand it as much. It wasn't like a slow pace like the pensieve was in the books. It was just a couple flashes of different things. Lily wasn't even in there. So it was a little weird.
Because even how he invades Snape's mind is a little weird. He doesn't do it through the pensieve. He does it through portrayal.
Which was weird. So portrayal is a shield, right?
Yeah.
So it bounces the person's spell back
at them. Yeah.
But it felt weird that Snape casts Legilimency, right? Mm-hmm. And then it hits him, but Harry gets access to it.
Yeah.
It felt like a...
Magic doesn't work like that. It's just
again, not respecting the magic, maybe. I didn't think that's how it worked.
Respect the magic.
Respect the magic, Jen.
How many times I've watched these movies, I've never.
I can't wait to play.
Again, like
Harry
just like
Potter.
letting the movie take me on a journey. It like worked. I was okay with it.
Yeah, there is a part where it mischaracterizes Harry a little bit though, because he is curious and would do that stuff like he did in other movies.
Yeah.
So.
But also, it messes up the why Snape's so angry at him too.
Yes.
Like Harry crossed the line to see these secret memories, and he purposely did that, and then Harry goes and watches them. So now we know why he would be so angry that he doesn't want to teach him anymore. Whereas in this version of the movie, you don't really understand why he's so angry at him, because that's great that you're able to do a spell and like, bounce it back to him. So I feel like you shouldn't be as angry, like, oops, like you did a good thing in defense against my spell.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And
Such
we
a
never even
difference.
saw Snape hide any of his thoughts, right? So there's none of that mystery like in the books, where Snape is literally hiding his thoughts in the pensieve. He does not want Harry to see these, and Harry knows that there's something he's hiding.
And even
none of that in the movie.
But I also did like the fact that they're like, you have to learn this now and go now. I thought the rushing of that meant it was very important. This is something serious that you have to take control over, like, right now.
Yeah, like Harry's in his sweat, and he just goes and he has to learn. Like, he's exhausted, but he has to learn this. It showed a lot of urgency. But even Snape's worst memory is not the full memory. It was just like a quick little bit of his bullying.
It was so fast.
I know.
Even like because it was short clips, but it like blurred through it.
Yeah.
Like at least
like 10
if
seconds.
You're gonna do like these short clips, have it go a little.
I know.
slower.
I know. Seriously. Like Lily wasn't in it, which is devastating because you really haven't seen Lily at all in the movies. And you don't really see her that much in the books, but like any chance that you get to see Lily and Harry's interaction with Lily is like, because Lily is like the cool person in that memory. And Harry kind of loves that, and he doesn't like his dad so much after that, which is a little funny, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you miss all of that too. Remember when he's questioning Sirius and Lupin about his dad and the whole teenage years and explaining that.
Yeah.
Not that that's super important, but it helps build the character, even though I don't care about that.
I care a little bit.
Just a little bit. Come on, admit it.
We'll see.
Yeah, Fred and George, their exit I thought was really good, but I actually loved one of the reasons for their exit too, because this gives Fred and George like a little sympathy when they're like consoling that kid who's crying because the back of his hand hurts.
Oh yeah,
like, that's a cool scene. I feel like Fred and George would kind of do that in real life too. Yeah. Like it gives them a little bit of like sympathy and pity for other people rather than just these businessmen that are like brilliant. You know?
You're right. I
actually really like that. And then they go, you know what, Fred? I think it's time to take our talents. What is the exact line? I always butcher lines, but he's like,
well, you know him better than us.
Outside of Hogwarts, and then that's when they decide to leave, which I kind of like. I thought that was a well executed scene. Yeah, and we talked about Flitwick, his little it's really cute. And then Umbridge. So this is like, how do you guys like the part where they're escaping? Like Umbridge, they're going to Umbridge's office. The whole gang comes. They see Grawp, all that kind of stuff.
Grawp was so cute.
Yeah.
He's not cute.
He's like a big
Honestly,
baby.
yeah, you're right.
His animation is a little weird, but he's like a big baby.
He is like a big
baby.
The scene was pretty decent for what it was. I know it was different, obviously. But then the Thestrals just coming out of nowhere was weird.
Yeah.
Because the blood was from Grawp on Harry and Hermione. And
then the line where you get it is Luna goes, we'll take Thestrals, of course. And then the next scene is them all on Thestrals.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess you got to cut something a little bit.
Yep.
But, you just want it how it is in the movies or how it is in the books.
Exactly.
I like that Ron and Grawp both like Hermione.
Yeah.
And there was that like funny tension between them. Yeah. I was like, it's kind of cute.
Yeah. Oh, it is so cute. Ron runs and like hits him over with a stick, and then the stick just instantly breaks or something like that. Yeah. It's so cute. There was one scene that I really liked. Again, Imelda Staunton, who plays Umbridge, I think does really good in a few different scenes, but one in particular, maybe one of her best, one of my favorites, is when she literally slaps Harry because Harry's like lying to her, and she slaps him when she finds out that when she's like interrogating him. She says, "Don't lie to me." I love the idea that she would do that because she did. She like didn't slap him in the books, but she was physical with students, like grabbing Marietta and like shaking her. That's when Dumbledore went crazy. It's another bummer. You don't really see Dumbledore like have that moment where he is in control.
Yep.
Like he leaves. You don't get the frozen time where like
he
knocks all these people
Harry
out and talks to Harry to learn occlumency. You don't get that, which is a little devastating. But you do get
a terrible performance.
Whoa!
You do get a terrible performance, and you get the one line where Kingsley goes, "You may not agree, Minister, but you gotta admit Dumbledore's got style."
Oh yeah, that was
which is a good line. But
Not by Dumbledore.
Not by Dumbledore.
It was still a cool departure, but just missing a little bit.
They should have said in that line in the movies that you gotta admit Dumbledore's got style, and he's got a lot more style in the books. So check out the books. That's what they should have done. I thought the Centaurs looked great. I really liked how they looked.
Yeah.
That was good.
And they actually hinted at the Centaur and Ministry tension. They showed like a newspaper article earlier or something, which I'm kind of surprised that they gave that some screen time. But that tension did exist in the movies.
Yeah.
Which I thought was good because then again, when by the time you get Umbridge there, she was just, I don't know, stoking the fire. Yeah. And the Centaurs were like, yep, none of that. So,
yeah. They kind of just go off and carry her off. I thought that was actually real well done.
I don't like the difference, though, between the book and they, like, missed a lot of the... Like, Umbridge the Centaurs didn't have any, like, talking lines. And, like, you don't really understand... You don't get that tension between Umbridge not liking half-breeds.
You don't know why she... Yeah. You don't
like,
get
there's
any
not much there. And
wait,
then,
didn't
like,
she make a comment about half-breeds or something in the movie?
She says one thing to the Centaurs as creatures of near human intelligence.
Yeah,
which
really
was all, but you don't get like her hatred of half-breeds. You don't really understand that in the movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was one thing that I was like, I feel like that would have been good because then you realize how much they could torture her.
Yep.
Because she's just saying all these terrible lines.
Yeah.
And then the danger for Harry and and Hermione being there with the Centaurs.
Yes.
You don't get that like vibe that they're in danger.
They just get up and leave.
Yep. No big deal.
Yeah. That's not great. How do you like them into the Ministry? So when they're able to take when they're able to take Thestrals to the Ministry, how do you like them in the Ministry, all that Ministry scene?
It felt quick.
Yeah.
They walk in the Ministry and it's like the first room is just boom.
Yeah.
Prophecies. It felt like it was just a blur. I like, it happens a lot in the movies. I keep expecting the book and then it just compressed and all of a sudden they're walking around the prophecies. And again, I get it. They have to cut things. I was hoping we'd get hints at it later. Like we did get the death room, but did we get that? I don't think so.
No, I'm just
saying, yeah. No time turner, no brains,
no
brain room.
Podcast,
yep.
I feel like.
What was the other one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing else.
Likes time turners.
So we didn't get any of that, and that's fine.
Or baby.
The prophecy room was
sweet.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah,
baby kind of funny to see.
It could have been they could have done that really well.
All of that, would have been so cool.
All that is such visual storytelling. They just could have knocked that out of the park, and they just skipped over half of it. And that's when you're like, it's a short movie. It's the shortest movie, so you're like, give me an extra half hour in the Ministry.
Right.
Show me every room.
Shortest movie, crazy.
Even longest the Death Eaters appearing, would you have known who they were? I don't know. Just the way that the encounter, it wasn't like they were terribly afraid for their life.
Yeah.
You don't see Harry being in control and kind of giving like a nudge to the kid saying like, hey, we got to get out of this situation. Like I just didn't think you would grasp all that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There is one cool scene that the Death Eaters do though, that Lucius takes off his mask, but he does it with his wand. And it's like liquid.
Oh,
I thought that was so cool. I was like, visually that looked great. I love that
It did have a lot of. I would say this movie had a lot of visual that were really on point, or added ones that I thought were great.
Like they're doing better in the movies as they get out with like cool little visual elements that they put in there. You're like, oh wow, that like looks cool. But
I still do wonder about how much budget and timing and like just movie making things play in, like with the statues of the fountain. I'm wondering, did they try it and it just didn't look good enough?
Yeah,
and they're like,
maybe.
oh, it's coming off cheesy. The CGI isn't there. It's just let's just cut it. Did they have more scenes planned, but then there were timelines they couldn't hit, so they had to cut other things? I don't know, because it is short.
We're gonna have to
flying
Google
by.
this.
Yeah, I want to like dive into all of it. I almost watched the movie again later because I find myself like typing up my notes and then I'd miss things because it happens so fast. Yeah. But then I'm like, you know what? I don't mind if I forget things in the movie, but I'm looking forward to watching them all afterwards again, you know? All the behind the scenes stuff.
I can't wait to go to Universal.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Universal, we got, we'll go to some Harry Potter.
We're not going to make it in time.
Cursed Child.
But the September 1st King's Cross would be awesome.
Speed read, guys. We'll
do
Half-Blood Prince in a month.
Just because that's like September's just not far enough away. But
that's your funniest joke yet, John.
It's probably gonna take us another year to do the whole thing, which is great. Come on,
it's
so fun,
I'm not
guys.
complaining, but it's just funny how we're talking about like, we want to hit this deadline.
Well, I guess it's gonna be September 2024 that we'll have to go.
September 24. Come on,
Or we'll just have to go and do all the stuff whenever the time happens, and then we'll go back.
Exactly.
Some September,
There we go.
We still have not found. We still haven't hit that part in the book and the movie where it's like Harry Potter Mecca. We still haven't been there, guys.
Ooh.
So when we get there,
there's also trivia nights I want to go to.
I know.
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
She's like, that's what I really want.
Because people keep sending me stuff, and I'm like, this is a really cool cidery that has trivia. I'm like, can we go? And then my coworker, she's like, they won't let you go. I was like, no, because there could be potential spoilers. She's like, why don't you reach out and ask the trivia host to only go up to book 5?
Oh,
and that's the only questions they'll do.
I wonder if they would actually like
that would be
to us.
Funny.
We can sell
the
podcast.
We try and
this thing,
my goodness,
that would actually be kind of fun.
That would be awesome.
We could record the whole thing.
I know. And then I was like, great. Even if we do get a yes, I'm gonna have to come up with like these big sound canceling headphones that I can only.
I'll have a control every time I hear a question.
And then I have to go.
No.
So funny. I was just thinking of all
great.
Just
get the questions beforehand. And then you know when to mute.
That'd actually be brilliant. I would be down, guys. If you want to
that would be so funny. Maybe I'll reach out and see what they say.
Do it. Doesn't hurt to ask.
We're getting all these questions about U.S. presidents at trivia night. We don't know that at all. But you talk about
Harry
ministers
Potter?
of magic or headmasters. Yep. We're in.
That we know.
What spell is what?
Forget about the real world history.
Oh, the Goblin Rebellion. Yeah, I got that.
That's going to be one of the obscure questions. That's why I think some of the Harry Potter trivia is tough, because they're going to be like, what year was the Goblin Rebellion?
Yeah, but we got.
He's gonna know.
Danny, do you know?
No. Well, the thing is, there wasn't just one.
Yeah.
There were multiple.
Oh my god.
That's what our answer could be.
But in the 1700s, that was one.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't
know
any of that. It's like
there's another one more recent
your
though.
Spells, your characters.
Yeah. I feel like you get everything else. Your inappropriate jokes.
Thanks. That's really helpful.
You're gonna get the line where
it's the right thing.
Okay, this is another funny thing in the movies they could have done too. This, I feel like, because Pluto's not a planet anymore, they could have made a fun little joke about that in the movies where Ron is coming out like half drunk.
It sounded like something crazy over there. It's just Wes.
Like Ron's coming out half drunk and he goes, Harry, we saw Uranus. And they blew up Pluto. I was like, that could have been a funny little ad in the movies where they blew up Pluto. And I know it wasn't in the movies at all. The space room wasn't in the movies.
But he acted drunk in I can't remember.
No.
In the movie? Oh, I don't remember either.
Ron wasn't in it. They never went into that room. They split up a little bit, but they all reconvened back into the Veil room, and they all were taken by Death Eaters. And they had like their wands to the throat kind of thing. Okay, how did you guys think, before we get to this one line that we'll talk about, how did you like the battles in the Ministry of Magic between the Death Eaters and the kids and between the Aurors and the kids and then Voldemort and Dumbledore.
All really quick.
Yeah.
It didn't feel drawn out.
And it doesn't feel like the kids are barely surviving through it. Like they're getting by with. It didn't feel like that in the movies.
Nope. But I think in a weird way, the movies felt a little more, I don't know about more accurate, but the way it played out, it was almost hard for me to picture in the books the kids getting away from all these Death Eaters. And then the way it was happening in the movies, in the movie, it felt like accurate somehow. Where I'm like, you know what? It didn't feel absurd. I wasn't watching it thinking that would never happen. It was different than the books, but it still made sense to me watching it. The flow of things, running around with all the prophecies smashing. But it felt like the Death Eaters didn't want to hurt the kids or didn't want to kill them at least.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Even at the end, they had wands to all their throats. Well, like, why put it to their throats? Come to think of it, like you do that with a knife if you're trying to like cut someone's throat. But like with a wand, wouldn't you aim it like at their head or their heart, or just like you don't need to aim it at anything? You just hold it. But one of the kids would have died if they wanted them to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
But by the time the Aurors came in and all the Kingsley and all the other Order of the Phoenix people, I thought that was good chaos. A lot of things moving around. It was like.
But we don't even know that Snape is the one that told.
Yeah.
True. You're right. We don't really know how they found out. I don't think that was
They
mentioned.
just
I
appear.
don't know. It's just like there's so many
Plot
missing
holes.
parts that I don't get how you can get the whole story.
Just enter into my brain.
And also, if you know something is a book, I feel like you kind of dismiss some of that and say, there's a deeper story that explains it, and I don't know it. It's fine, but here's where we are. Does that ever happen to you?
No.
You want to know. You're like, it should be explained if it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always doing that. Like, what happened? Yeah, like I said.
Yep.
But also because we don't know the end of the story, and that's happened other times, where then it comes back around, and then Dumbledore explains something at the end of the book, and then we're like, oh, that's why that happened? Oh, okay. I still feel like that could always happen in a story like this, where you say, all right, well, in movie number 6 or 7, maybe that's where we'll put all these pieces together. And we'll
Like
start to
movie
understand it.
version.
Yeah, movie or any kind of story. Like if the story's not over yet, it could always be explained later. Even with like the time turners. We're like, how'd they know about that? I don't know. But then like in the next movie, you could find out, oh, they know because this happened, that happened, flashback, they explain
and
it.
If it's the same director, then maybe. For the
And
next
all the
movie.
rest are the same, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
David Yates. He does the rest of them,
Hmm.
There's a few good things in there when they do it, but like a lot of it, I just struggle with the battles. Like it doesn't have the same gravity that the books do. Even the Dumbledore Voldemort duel, which looks cool, there's parts of that really do look cool. Like this is a scene too that you realize like, okay, the magic that they're doing, Harry couldn't even like fathom some of what they're doing. It's like they're doing advanced stuff.
Yeah.
Even how they battle with the glass, like he breaks all the glass and then sends it at him, and Dumbledore like shields it. That stuff is just cool. But it's in the movies or in the books, it just has such more weight to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few cool things that they do again, like some of the, again, Mr. Sexy himself, Ralph Fiennes, I think does so good with Voldemort. There's one scene that I love that he does, where he like glides in, and he goes, "You have to mean it, Harry," and then Harry like turns around and is about to curse Voldemort, and Voldemort, without not using his wand hand, just swats away Harry's wand. Not like he doesn't even make contact with it. He just does like wandless magic and just goes like that, and then his wand is off. I'm like, that is to me so cool that he's that powerful that like he doesn't even need to use his wand. Yeah, it's like a quick scene. I mean, I'm noticing like him doing a hand motion like that. Yeah, the whole thing was quick, but I'm like, that in a quick scene to have something like that where you see Voldemort is that superior with magic is you get the weight that Voldemort in the movies is a seriously good magician, seriously good at magic. I kind of like that. What did you guys think of two things? When Sirius punches Lucius And then he goes, "Get away from my guts," and then he punches him. And then what do you think of Sirius's last line? Do you remember his last line? I'm glad that you don't remember it because I hate it.
Clearly it wasn't memorable.
"Nice one, James." Oh. And then he gets cursed.
Yeah.
By Avada Kedavra and falls through the veil. What do you think about that line? Some people love it. Some people hate it. I hate it, but
I kind of like the punch in a weird way because it feels like it's not all about magic. Sometimes you just want to punch somebody. It's a very it's a Muggle moment, but it's like cool.
Where was that scene? I don't remember.
It was the same right before they started fighting again. He like jumps down and then he's like right with Harry. You know, kind of they're fighting together, and that's why he says, "Nice one, James." So it's a nice compliment to Harry, but it also feels like he's stuck in the past a little bit. Maybe that's closer to book.
I was gonna say that correlates better with the book.
Yeah.
Because it almost makes him delusional. In the movie. Because he is so mature, and the father figure and like seems put together.
Yeah.
But he's like a little bit unhinged in the book. Not unhinged, but I don't know. You're right. I think that.
But then it would have made more sense if they put in the history where I was just saying earlier, where Harry goes to Sirius and Lupin asking about his dad. Hey, I saw this in Snape's memories. Can you explain my father's, he seems like a bully. And then if he said this, "Nice one, James," I feel like that would have helped.
Yeah.
Like that would have
honestly
worked a little bit better for me.
Yeah, agreed.
To then be like, "Here, I'm trying to show you the positive side of your dad." You know, like to reiterate that he wasn't the bully that he saw. But we don't even see that in his memories. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it also feels like almost like it makes me think that Sirius has been in this exact situation before with James. Enemies all around, shooting off spells, fighting people. Like it gives me the impression that would have been like the norm for them.
Yeah.
And maybe we find out that it was, but again, like they were young.
Yep.
They were teenagers in their 20s, 21 I think is when the Potters died. Yeah. So like it just feels a little bit weird. I'm like, oh man, like I
didn't realize that young.
Yeah, so I think it's just odd. Again, if we find out later, we get some flashbacks and it's like, oh wow, Harry actually does the same moves that James used to do, and they kind of naturally fell into this fighting rhythm that Sirius was familiar with. And like, okay, and for anyone who likes that line, I totally understand it because it's endearing. It shows the connection between Sirius and Harry. But for people who don't like the line, I could also see why it would feel like Harry isn't James. He's a different person, and you can love him for different reasons, and like he can remind you of James, but to like actually confuse him with James feels a little like misguided. Like he's not your high school friend. Yeah. He's someone else, and you need to be like a father figure, not a friend to him. I don't know.
And there is a part to it, like we've talked about. He's been in prison for a while. He's still like living in his glory days, wishing he was back in the good old days. So
maybe
part
that's
of that
what
line
got him through.
Yeah, sometimes it makes that part of that line that makes sense, but I'm like, for that to be the last thing that he says to Harry, just kind of.
But in the book, what is it? The Bellatrix thing? Like
that's
the last you got. So I mean, I guess that's better than that.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Maybe. I think the last thing in the books was maybe him telling Harry to go with the others and get out of there while they duel him. Maybe. But the last thing he's just mocking Bellatrix, and Bellatrix actually lands a curse, and then he falls through the veil. I don't know. The one thing that I really struggle with though is like the very, very end of the movie. So like actually right before that, what do you guys think of like the possession scene? That was a weird little moment. It almost seemed like time stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have anything else that came before that? Any other notes?
Oh yeah, I'm like looking back at my notes for a little before that. I'm like catching up. Just sorry to catch us up there. I have mixed feelings about Lucius telling Harry how the prophecy worked. Yeah. Instead of that happening later.
And everyone hears the prophecy too, which drives me crazy.
It was out loud. Everyone heard it. Yep. The kids don't wear their robes a lot in this movie. In the books, I just picture them always having their robes on. But in the movie, like they're just wearing like random clothes. I'm like, what? Like, what happened to your robes? Put those robes on. Represent. Just a funny little random thing. Tonks has more of a presence in the movie. Maybe just because she was in like Game of Thrones too, so like she was one of the wildlings, and so like she was a familiar face. So seeing her, I was like, oh, okay. Seemed like she had more substance. Also, of all the things they've missed from movie to book, I think it's interesting that they showed her tripping when she was walking down in 12 Grimmauld Place. She stumbled over something, and I'm like, when is she going to stumble when it's important? It's only a matter of time.
I even forgot that she was she's clumsy.
She's too clumsy. Yeah. And it's going to cost someone their life later. Or maybe she's just she'll drop another prophecy. Or she'll...
They pretty much destroyed the Hall of Prophecies. According to the movies, Ginny does one curse and destroys every prophecy in the Hall of Prophecies.
Right? Like there's so many.
Which is kind of cool. That's like her shining moment. But in the book, she's still so much cooler.
But you don't even know she like.
I know.
Kind of. I
guess you're like, where does that come from?
Face, but she doesn't talk.
Yeah.
At all.
Sirius punches Lucius. The Avada Kedavra on Sirius was quick, no mystery, because Harry already knows it's final because he saw it with Cedric. Dumbledore came later in the movie. He didn't show up in the death room. Voldemort trying to teach Harry the Crucio, which was weird. Dumbledore did not get knocked down by Valdi. I didn't like that happened in the movie. He got knocked down. I'm like, whoa, that's not cool. That didn't happen in the books, right?
No.
It just seems absurd.
Dumbledore's in control. He actually seems a little scared in the books, a little nervous.
For Harry in particular.
One moment, again, because he's juggling 10 different things. He's trying to keep Bellatrix down with the centaur or whatever it was. He's trying to keep Harry at bay. And he's trying to battle Voldemort.
And when Harry tried to move and started, that's when he got like scared. He actually saw like nervousness. And that's cool. But it looked like he was really struggling in the movies. Yeah. Again, good on screen. I get it. But
he did deliver the line, "It was foolish for you to come here tonight, Tom."
Yeah, that was good. I thought
he delivered that pretty well.
There's a shining moment.
Yeah, one shining moment in the whole movie. And then I also love... What'd you say?
No, I was just saying it's great when that's your real personality. You're not acting.
I know. Yeah.
Like you could just say, and it's like, oh, that's perfect for.
I know exactly. I know.
You're just being like Kristen Stewart. Anyways.
Yeah, that's one thing I hate, because this is probably his best movie, but it's his best movie because he's so cold, and he's not necessarily cold, but he's like distant in the books, so you kind of get what he's doing. But one thing I really, really love, one of my favorite parts of this movie, is at the end of this little duel, when one of the last things, Voldemort breaks the glass, he sends it all flying toward Dumbledore and to Harry, and Dumbledore kind of blocks it, makes it into sand, and it's all there. And then at the end of that scene, when he realizes that Dumbledore kind of like shielded that stuff, Voldemort just has this look on his face like this is going to go on all day kind of look. And I love that. I thought that was really well done by Ralph Fiennes, because it's just like it's such a small little thing, but he understood how good both of them are, and he just needed to express it in a little facial reaction, and I think he nailed it. Like he can go all night with Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But
they're a good match for each other, apparently.
But I love that little facial expression that he had there. The possession scene was a little weird for me. I kind of liked it, but it was a little strange. But one thing that I didn't like in it was...
I feel like you wouldn't understand. Like, if I just watched the movie, I don't think I would understand what's going on there. Because we never see this mind control thing ever.
Yeah. You don't get that moment in Dumbledore's office, too, when he's like... the two divided thing. They're trying to figure that out. You don't get like there's some kind of possession thing going on. You don't get that. That crushes me. Another thing that crushes me in that is when the reason that Harry comes out of it is because he sees his friends, not because he sees Sirius, not because he's sad and he wants to die because Sirius is dead. Which is a small change. But I feel like that changes a lot for Harry's reaction. This is why the end of the movie to me sucks, because Harry spends it with his friends rather than mourning Sirius's loss. And the Sirius thing doesn't seem to have gravity at all in the movies to me, because Harry is not depressed after it. He gets over it. He doesn't destroy the office. He goes back to Dumbledore. Dumbledore's debrief with him is maybe 20 seconds. And Harry doesn't even seem all that upset about Sirius's death, and he just moves on.
All you get is one, like, you know, looked good, his scream, but it was silent. You don't even hear it.
Yep.
It didn't have enough heft to it. It was just kind of like, all right, it was there. It was powerful. It like stinks to see Harry like that.
But it's like for a second,
we didn't feel it.
No,
you know?
But then like it should linger.
Yeah.
Like in reality,
it can't just be
that
gone.
Happens, you're living in that for a while.
Yeah.
It doesn't just magically go away. Like you said, like, I'm just going to go hang out
Yep.
with my friends now.
I know, exactly.
That's not how it works.
It also felt weird when Harry like kicked Voldemort out of his mind. It felt so final in the movie. Like he's gone now. He's out of Harry's mind. And at least from the books, we're kind of left like, is this still a risk? Is he going to come back? How does this feel? Is it like Voldemort is going to be able to enter Harry's mind based on how healthy he's processing grief or, you know, love and things like that? So it just felt so final. Again, not nuanced. It was not subtle. It was just like, done. Let's move on.
Yeah. It's just, the ending is just too different for me. Like, how did the movie end? Like, what's the final scene in the movie? Are they all going to the train station together?
I don't remember either.
I don't even remember,
Come on. You know you got it.
I just said Harry didn't seem that distraught about Sirius in the end.
Yeah.
I said, but I kind of did like the end.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that specifically. But Harry just seemed too solid, I wrote. Like, again, it felt like he processed, and it felt like there was a few days or weeks of processing that we just didn't see on screen. And there was no indication. But then by the time we see Harry next, he felt like mature already. Like he already had moved on. I liked it for the sake of him feeling better, but it didn't feel like real. Like, how could it be?
Yeah.
But he did feel...
The ending scene
solid is what I wrote.
And the ending scene is them all walking toward the train station, and they have their Muggle clothes on, which is why Danny likes the scene so much, because they're all wearing Muggle clothes.
Muggle clothes, exactly. Also, Harry and Luna holding hands briefly.
Yeah,
I wrote that.
I thought that was good.
Interesting connection. I wrote. I think it was good.
Where was that?
Because Luna does it.
Luna does it. Yeah, and it's just like, again, a little human moment, but like I don't remember if it feels slightly romantic or just kind of comforting. But either way, I liked it because it's just connection. And I want to see Harry trusting people around him. I want to see these bonds of friendship grow stronger. And that's, I think, why the movie at the end felt like that. It felt like all the things they experienced brought them together.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt good, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I like that too, because in Luna's mind, I feel like it's not romantic. And Harry's, it might be. Maybe he's like nervous about that. But for Luna in the movies, she's such like a pure-hearted person. When she says, "I'm sorry that like Sirius died," or whatever she says, "Your uncle died," or "Your godfather died," she like reaches out and like grabs his hand, just like a little small comfort thing, and then she like lets it go. Like just that small thing, I think is good, because Luna understands it. Harry might not fully understand it, but that's why I think she did a great job with expressing what Luna would do. I feel like that's something that Luna would do. I think that was great. But then as soon as the Luna scene is done, then it goes to the train station. The movie's over. So you don't get Harry at the lake alone. You don't get him at Hagrid's. You don't get you don't get Harry's deep depression, which the books, the end, again, I said this last podcast, but maybe this is my favorite part of the books up until this point is these last two chapters of this book, because they're masterful. Harry is in the throes of depression and sadness and angst because Sirius has passed away. Sirius has died. But Harry's still able to move on because he has people surrounding him. Like he gets out of the train station and the whole order is there. Most of the people from the order are there waiting for him. His friends are still around him, and you don't get that in the movies. I feel like Harry just is too optimistic in the end. I don't love that.
Yep.
Don't like optimism.
Do we have the Order of the Phoenix like threatening the Dursleys at the end of the movie?
No. Which would have been great too.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that was kind of an important thing. Like,
yeah.
They got his back, and it's not going to be like every other summer.
And did we even quite figure out in the debrief, did Dumbledore talk about why Harry has to be there?
Not that I recall, but...
Because, again, I thought that was kind of nice. Like, Harry doesn't want to go back. He'd rather go to the Burrow or whatever else. he's forced to go back. Dumbledore explains that, but then he gets the order backing him up, giving a little threat for him. I think that was, like you said, very nice, masterful in the book. You miss it in the movies. You just get general vibes of things are going to be all right.
Yeah.
Any other last notes on the movie before we go into awards?
Oh boy.
Fudge seeing Voldemort felt anticlimactic.
Yeah, he just goes.
I don't remember exactly why, but it feels like weird timing that they like just got there. In the book, it felt like we were so in the zone with Dumbledore, Voldemort, Harry, Bellatrix that all of a sudden we like look up, so to speak, and the Ministry was filled. But then in the movie, it felt like mid-battle, like a few people started arriving for work all at the same time, and you're like, oh, what? It was just kind of funny. I was like, weird. Okay. But at least he saw him for a brief moment before he escaped. Got a little lucky, I guess.
They had all those newspaper stories, that little montage right after that.
Oh, yeah.
Being back, but that's about all
that was good.
So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was decent to like end it, I guess.
Yeah. It's like a movie. I was critical of it, but I actually like this movie. I think it's good.
I feel like at the beginning and the end of all of our podcasts for the movies, we have to be like, it was really good. We like it. It's great. We are big fans.
It's just nothing compared to the books.
The books are just
You can
incredible.
never compare to the books.
Yeah.
I should have worn my shirt. The book was better. Because it always is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Who wins we'll do like the House Cup award for this one. What's your favorite moment in this movie? Who is the best character and who is the hottest tamale in this movie? Who wins the hot tamale?
I know my answer.
Voldy is the hot tamale. He's so good. He's so good. Oh, what a babe. Who wins your guys' hot tamale?
Umbridge?
Yeah, always Umbridge.
Legit, her acting kind of makes her
that does
worthy
pretty
of a hot
great.
tamale.
Oh, man. It's weird just because we did just do the book one. So I'm trying to think movie only. How did it feel? I feel like I need to give Sirius more credit for this one. Like almost like giving him the House Cup because he did a lot for the story. He felt more significant. He was guiding Harry a little more. I feel like really like Harry gets it. But then again, Harry did cause all the problems in this story. If it wasn't for Harry, Sirius wouldn't. Well, we don't have to get all into it. I'm going to give Sirius the House Cup because
it was a real internal battle.
I like him so much better in the movies, I think. And hot tamale. It's tough.
I know.
I don't feel like all the people that I think are so spicy lose their spice in the movies.
I know.
Really
Like even McGonagall, she doesn't have as big of a role.
She doesn't say have a biscuit, Harry.
Yeah.
She only has one little zinger, which Imelda Staunton goes, "Is there anything you'd like to say, McGonagall? Professor McGonagall?" And she goes, "There are several things I would like to say." But that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you practice these voices in the mirror? You got that down.
McGonagall, she's great.
McGonagall and Snape, you got those.
McGonagall,
down.
but she loses her spiciness. Ginny loses her spiciness. Neville loses her spiciness.
They all do. That's so sad.
I know. And they're the hottest of tamales.
I would, because Ginny was mine, but this one I'm like, maybe Luna.
I'm going to give, Luna is good in the movies. I'm going to give it to the Weasley twins, though. Because they're still good. And like you said, the moment with the kid who had the writing on the hand and then their departure still felt significant.
Yeah.
I'll give it to the Weasleys.
It's really hard because I feel like no one has character. It's funny because the whole time I said it doesn't matter to me. I guess it does.
I know. Kristen, do you give your hot tamale? That sums it up. It's tough. It's tough in this movie.
Cho.
No.
Ew.
She's not even mixed.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was laughing in my head. This has nothing to do with anything. But when I said that thing about Umbridge needing to get laid, I thought of Clueless, where the kids should have... Do you know Clueless?
I don't think I do.
Yeah, but I don't...
where they like try to set up two of the teachers.
Oh, really?
To fall in love,
They
and
would
then
be
they
great
give better
together.
grades.
Wow, nice.
I thought of that when didn't Filch have the chocolates or something?
Yeah,
he was eating the chocolates.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that would have been perfect. Put a little note from Umbridge,
Whoa.
and then like
That could have been
give her
great.
something
Play
from
matchmaker.
Filch, and then
I
they
like
can-
it.
Yeah, that's clueless. I don't know.
That would have been funny.
Anyway, that doesn't answer your question, but that's my thoughts. I don't know who to give hot tamale.
It's a tough one.
There really isn't one.
I know. Except Voldemort. Voldemort is probably the hot tamale, honestly.
Thestrals.
Sexy
The
man.
Thestrals.
The Thestrals. There we go.
Kind of, yeah. There you go. Honestly, Fred, George, Voldemort, Imelda, because she's such a good actress in this one.
I'll give it to Grawp.
There you go.
Yay,
Little
Grawp.
baby Grawp.
Cute little Grawp. There we go.
Yeah, that's fair.
He was so cute.
I know.
I'm gonna give it to Bellatrix.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew someone was going to give it to Bellatrix.
Not
was
because I
waiting.
think that I think she just did so good in this movie, and she just had that sexual energy toward
When
Voldemort.
she licked the
yeah,
tattoo.
right.
I never noticed that.
So
until this
good.
time.
Like
In
the
the beginning,
little
did you guys
things
see
that
that?
she did.
No,
When she
I
was,
don't think I did.
before she
When they-
broke out of Azkaban, she licked
yes.
the tattoo.
Yeah. So
I
creepy.
was like, oh, that was gross.
That scene was
so
cool.
creepy.
I like
Yeah.
Yeah.
breaking out. That was pretty neat.
It was, yeah. And I think you said Azkaban is huge at that part.
Yeah.
So big.
When it zoomed out and it was just a tiny little portion, I was
She's
like,
just laughing in
whoa.
the rubble.
Oh my gosh.
She's
You're
such
like,
a great character for those types of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An actress for those types of characters.
Yep.
She's perfect.
She is
for
so
that.
good. Who wins the house cup for you guys?
I think I said Sirius.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trying to make up for not liking him that much.
Because he was more solid.
Yeah, yeah. But if I
Actual
separate it,
father
yeah.
figure.
Oh, and favorite moment, I said hot tamale to Fred and George, and I feel like them leaving was a good moment. But favorite moment was really Dumbledore at the end in the movies, like him and Voldemort. That was probably the best for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was good.
I'm giving the house cup to Luna. I think she did great in this movie.
Yeah, she really did. Good call.
Nothing?
No.
Gosh, this was hard enough like picking ones for the books.
I know.
Now you're like making me change it up.
Sorry, guys.
It's just interesting that it's different.
Well, I know. It's throwing me off.
Like you'd think you'd be the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. At all.
No, not at all.
So yeah. I did like the scenes in the potions room, or not what the heck?
Like-
prophecy room.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought that was well illustrated, but too short.
Yeah.
Always.
I can't pick any. I don't know.
It's
I
tough.
didn't really like one character like the most out
Yeah.
of the whole thing.
Mm.
But maybe it was Sirius because he was different.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
I
You
would
guys
have loved to have said Ginny, but she didn't talk.
I know.
I would have loved to
Now
say
you're
Neville,
like
but he didn't do enough.
You guys are just trying to compensate because you hate Sirius in the
That way,
books.
if people really love Sirius,
Yeah.
they won't hate us. I do love when Neville said, "Don't give it to him, Harry." That was
Yeah.
good. And he found the room
yeah.
of requirement. Like,
But his line in the book
He's
is
good.
better. He's
Yeah.
not alone.
yeah.
That's good. And Hermione doesn't even really exist in this.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Ginny
Yep.
and Hermione, like none of the trio is really
Yep.
there. I have no idea. I don't know. Question mark.
Double question mark.
Kristen,
I don't know.
it's so tough. I know this is, and I feel like we watched it a week ago, so it's almost hard to remember some of this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I like both of your guys' house cups.
There you go.
I like
All right.
Luna and Sirius. I'm going to do 2.
Did you guys have a favorite moment too, or is that too tough?
She liked the table scene. She already said.
Oh,
that.
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Thank you.
Boom.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Done. One correlation from book to movie. There we go. And it wasn't even the full thing.
I like the CGI stuff. like the Grawp, the Thestrals when they like first meet. I thought that was really.
Thestrals looked great.
They looked really cool.
Ministry of Magic looked great.
And Luna explaining it to Harry, that was like a neat scene.
That was maybe my favorite change over for the books. I thought they did a good job of adding that scene in, like of you associating and understanding Luna before the end of the book. Yeah, I actually like that. That was probably my favorite scene. That's my favorite moment in this one.
Luna is such a different character than I thought though in the movies. Even like the way she looks and stuff, I just pictured her more like aloof or nerdy or something, and she just looks quiet.
Yeah, and calm and like
calm. Very whimsical.
Yeah.
Wait,
a lot of people think she's neurodivergent.
In the movie or in the book?
I was saying the movie. Did you not get that?
I guess I didn't no, I don't know. I liked her a lot. It just was different than what I was reading in the book. I would have thought more unfiltered and more like random odd things she would say.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Because she was more you understood where she was coming from in the movie. But I don't think that's how she was in the book. It was kind of like these random thoughts.
Yeah, it's true.
Just like, just a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't get any of that.
In her own world. And you could connect more with her in the movie than you did in the book. So I think that's why it's hard for me. I liked it, but it was just not what I pictured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And when I read the books now, I only have movie Luna in my head. And I'm not upset about that because I think she's so good. But it is a slight difference between the two for sure.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of like people I've encountered in life that I feel like would be a better Luna.
Really?
Whoa.
We'll go over those names later. I feel like I can figure out some people too. Anyway, thanks for listening. Wow, how do we always end this podcast? I'm having brain farts today. Thanks for listening to... How do I end this?
Harry Potter the first time.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening to Harry Potter. Or thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter the first time.
That on a journey. Yes, you're
Thanks
right.
for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter, the first time readers. Until next time.
Wow.
And
then, of course, we have to woo.
Yeah, we all go woo.
Always.
She nailed the
Our
ending, guys.
intros.
Thanks for hanging out with Wes.
Also in the past, when do we say what we think the book is going to be about based on the title? Did we do that during the movie? Or we kind of did that at the end of the book, didn't we?
I think we did that a little bit at the end of the book. We'll probably...
Because there wasn't as much to speculate.
Yeah. We're going to... For everyone watching on the stream too, we're going to probably take a little bit of a breather because the next few weeks are pretty busy for all of us. So we're going to take a little bit of a breather probably until we read Half-Blood Prince, but we're going to try to filter some more content in. So we might just like all meet together without having read anything, but just like talk for an hour on impressions of what the next book is going to be about, that kind of stuff. We might do like a question and answer kind of thing. I might do one with Kaylee if you guys want to be here for that, of interviewing her with her first time read take. So I might do a few other things to filter, to give like a little bit of extra content before we start Half-Blood Prince in a few weeks. Just to give us a little breather from reading it, just so we can get some other stuff done, and then we're gonna be all into it in the summer. That's the summer reading, which I'm very excited about.
We'll hit our year mark.
I know. When did we start again? July?
I think so.
Because you guys started reading it, I think, in June, and I think we started in like July, like late July. So
I think you're right.
So we've been doing it for 9 months.
Yeah, we started reading in June.
Oh, shoot, you're right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Because we were supposed to be done by December.
Yeah. I remember that vein.
Yeah, that was a really, really short reading plan that stuck.
And we're gonna do some other. I was throwing some of this stuff out in our Reddit, but I'm starting to re-listen to the podcasts, and I'm gonna take notes on some of them for two reasons: just to get your guys' predictions and to like have a full list of your predictions. So
that's funny.
I'm doing it for that reason, and I'm also going to do it for the reason that I'm gonna do like a director's cut of giving like my unfiltered spoiler heavy commentary on each podcast episode that we listen to. So like,
oh my gosh, it's gonna be like 15 hours long per
yeah.
episode.
No, I'm gonna try to limit it to 15 minutes, but that's gonna be exclusive on Patreon. That's gonna be like our Patreon stuff.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do it where I'm gonna like listen to a podcast, take a few notes on it, because in every podcast that we've done, you guys have predicted something or mentioned something that I've had to hold my tongue. So I'm not going to hold my tongue anymore. I'm just going to
that's awesome.
Just chill here and then talk on some of the stuff that you guys talked about and like reminisced on. So if anybody wants extra content, that's going to be on our Patreon.
And Kristen could join for that.
Yeah.
Because she knows what's up.
Yeah.
I'll just nod along.
So I'm going to do that. We'll do some other extras too, but we'll figure that out as we go. But thanks for joining us today, guys. That was fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Oh, yeah. Bye.
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 Isn't that from The Hangover? He's like, bye.
I know that from Simone Yertz, the YouTuber. She always finishes her videos by going, okay, bye.
Oh.
That's all I know that from. It's like a little YouTuber.
Oh. Sure.
Wait, what does she do?
Forget.
She's like a creator of weird stuff.
Weird
You've probably
stuff.
seen some of her videos. She's so talented and creative. She like will have a problem in her life, and one of her problems in her life was that she loved doing puzzles, but she hated putting like a table over the puzzles whenever she wanted to host. So she just built a table that has like a little crank on it that lowers the puzzle into a table and then like puts things over. So she creates like solutions for stupid little problems that she has in her life.
Yes.
I like that.
But she used to create stupid machines for things. Like she had this one where she didn't want to brush her teeth, so she put a helmet on and she like clicked the button and it was like this arm that she went back and forth and brushed her teeth.
That's so funny.
Like stuff that barely works, but it's great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, anyway, thanks for joining.
That's Harry Potter themed.
Ooh.
I got it for my birthday.
Wait, Scrabble that's Harry Potter themed?
Yes.
How do you make Scrabble Harry Potter themed?
You spell names. I don't know the instructions on it exactly, but this is why I would fail.
Well, it's like just because usually when you play Scrabble, you keep like a dictionary next to you and it has to be in the dictionary to count. There's a list of Harry Potter words that are worth extra points. So if you use it,
I love that.
no, it's all words just like normal Scrabble. But if you use a Harry Potter word, you get like extra points or something, or it takes everything times 2 or plus something. I don't know how they did it, but based on reading the back for a minute or two, that's what I gathered.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've been wanting to play it, and it can't be spoilers in there unless you're gonna add some stuff to it. So
I know.
it would be on you. Right.
Maybe. I'm just trying to think. I'm like, what words could there be in there that could spoil things? Spells we don't know yet, or
I think you use like a lot of Harry Potter words. I have to read it. I haven't like fully opened it and played it or read the instructions, but my sister-in-law was like, this will be so fun for you guys.
yes,
Word.
indeed.
That would be fun.
Last thing before everyone leaves, we're also going to do maybe like a Q&A with them. So whatever questions that you have, just send them, put them on our subreddit. Maybe I'll make a thread of that, and then I'll grill these guys with questions on the next book.
Nice.
Anyway, have a good day,
We're
everyone.
ready.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Bye.
What am I looking at?
I have to decide what I want to do.
For hair?
I kind of like that.
What, for the wedding?
I'm looking at dues for my sister.
Hair dues.
Ooh.
Like a low bun thing.